so fucking cool.
He does look so cool, bro. He's just chilling.
Yeah, he's chilling.
Yo. What's happening, all you lovely people out there? Appreciate y'all, as always, for joining us here in the Logistics Lounge. So a little pop-up episode here. We know it's a Tuesday. I almost said Wednesday, 200. Almost said thank you for joining me on this Wednesday.
It fucked me up this morning.
Here we are on an off day here, but we have been waiting to get this guy in the lounge since damn near the start of it. And when he said, man, these days I got chopped out, you either take him or leave him, I said, I'll take him. And so here we are with all you lovely people. Got a good one lined up for y'all. We have Gary Johnson from the Heavy Haul Hustler. And today we are going to talk about heavy haul. And also we got some really good news for all you carriers out there as far as the rates go. Yeah, we're going to get into that in the news there too. So sit back, relax, pop a top, and enjoy the lounge.
The views and opinions expressed on this show by its guests are not necessarily those of Lounge Media Group or the show host. So if you sue someone, make sure it's the party responsible for hurting your feelings. Also, grow up, be an adult, and understand not everyone thinks like you. And that's okay.
Mr. Hound, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Hanging out with my hound here, Nacho. Look at him. He's pumped to be on this show today.
It looks like
right,
it, man. It looks absolutely just ecstatic, man.
He's copacetic, man. This dog rocks, dude. I love this guy. He's my fucking homie.
Yeah, he's also an amazing escape artist. Him and his little partner there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's why I'm here back at my mom's crib. Anytime fucking Hank goes out of town, I gotta come here and play game warden. Make sure they don't dig out.
That's funny. I remember when you and I first started like really talking all the time, man, for like every single day you were going over to your mom's house to go catch the dogs because they got
they dig out, like, dude. Fucking,
I remember that
you
shit,
got
bro.
Shitty Mike across the street, dude. Nacho, man, he got brought up on the Ring camera at least 5 times. So yeah, I gotta figure something out. But he's getting old and fat now. You can see he's got some chin hairs on him now, the old big boy. But it's been a good day, man. Just getting down to the holiday season. Everybody seems to be going on vacation, so just tying up some loose ends and making sure everybody's satisfied before old St. Nick comes into town. How's your day been, brother?
It's been good, dude. Been good, bro. Just moving some freight and stuff, man. Like kind of same thing you were just talking about, trying to get things buttoned up. Like all of my customers are like next week, they're not doing anything. So they're trying to get all of their stuff pushed out this week. I think I have one customer that has a load that's going to run next week. And that's it. So yeah, just doing that, dude, you know, did a little bit of prospecting and, nothing too spectacular, bro. That's it, man. You know, just a normal day. Not every day is a Netflix movie. You know what I mean?
That's right.
some fucking days are just boring, dude. They're just boring. So
yeah. Don't tell the boss man that though.
Yeah, I know that's right. Well, you know, yeah, you're right. Probably make me do more shit, but you know, hey, if you're bored and as long as you don't have anything you could be doing and you're bored, that's okay. Like that's cool. You know what I mean? If you're only bored because you just ain't doing shit and there's a stack of stuff you could be doing, that's obviously a different story.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get on into this thing, man?
Let's do it.
All right. Sponsor break, then some news. Freight Ninja. You know who they are. Been on the show plenty of times. Been a sponsor with us now for a few months. Truck parking. It's an issue. We know people don't like paying for it, but hey, it's what you got to do if you want to have a place where you're safe, secure, somewhere you ain't got to fight to get in and out of somewhere every single day. Freight Ninja. Pretty happy about this news. This news I'm going to share, man. Going to be some good stuff for the carriers, brother. They just keep getting hit, man, from every direction. And so found this little nugget today. Well, I actually think it came out yesterday, but I was like, there's some positivity, man, for them carriers. Give everyone something to look forward to maybe in the new year. So here's the news. All righty, Spidey. Per the Sonar National Truckload Index, and I just want to elaborate. This is the truckload. This is like covering everything. This is just the average for like all the markets that we're talking about here. Per this index, we're seeing numbers we haven't seen in almost 2 years at $2.53 per mile average rate per mile. Last time rates were this high was back in January 2023. Truckload rates are up 34 cents a mile since October 1st of this year. That's a 15% increase for anyone who wants to do the math on it. In the past week, we've seen spot rates jump from $2.38 to $2.53 a mile, which is a 15-cent increase just in the last week. The interesting part is that freight volumes are actually down compared to what they were last year. So why the uptick? Well, for one, there is less competition. There are roughly 14,400 fewer trucking authorities that are active now compared to the same time last year. That drop means that obviously there are fewer trucks fighting for the same loads. As well, tender rejection rates are on the rise, which means carriers are getting pickier about the freight that they take. Finally learning that, hey, this is what I need to operate, and they are making sure that they get that. Now, to take a look ahead, here's some things that the FreightWaves says you want to be on the watch for. Contract rates. Shippers might start locking in higher contract rates to make sure that they can move their freight in the coming year. This could mean more stable, higher paying loads for those of you who are on dedicated routes or are actively searching for dedicated routes. The potential boom coming in 2025. There is talk that if certain policies go through that could create an economic boost, we could see a huge surge in freight demand if some of these things happen with consumer spending and, construction taking an uptick. That would obviously be great news for carriers. And of course, rates would also climb with that. Capacity crunch. Just talked about this in the a second ago, but another reason to there being fewer carriers that is a more recent development is the clearinghouse regulations that arrived in November. Sure, a lot of people follow that, but the start of November, people that were in the drug clearinghouse, if you hadn't done certain things, they were completely taking away your CDL, and that was I don't know, 100-something thousand drivers, something like that, 100, wasn't it? And
yeah,
sure, yeah, something, I don't know, whatever. All right, finally, what can you do to help yourself be in the right place and be rewarded from all of this? Stay informed. You want to keep yourself an eye on the trends, even if you're not a data person. At least read little articles like this on FreightWaves and other places. Keep an eye on what's going on. As they say, knowledge is power in any business, especially in logistics. Be selective. When rates go up and capacity down, you can afford to be choosier about your loads. Look for the best paying freight that fits your schedule and the markets that you want to be in. Do not take something just because it pays great, go into a really crappy place that you're going to lose on your butt coming out of there.
That's
relationships. Hey, everyone's talking about this. I've said I'm tired of this word, but it is a good point, especially right now with these carriers as the market starts to shift. Brokers, you too. These carriers start getting this upper hand, going to be flipped back around, and you're going to want to have those relationships placed. So build relationships with shippers and brokers. We're both going to be looking for reliable carriers. So if you have a good track record with dealing with a certain shipper or a broker, now is the time to leverage that, says FreightWaves. Keep your equipment in shape. With the demand potentially increasing, make sure that your rig is ready to roll when all those high-paying loads come a-calling. That is probably some of the best damn advice out of that thing. I think that's just something, period. You need to have your equipment in tip-top shape regardless. So, hey, even when the hard times, last thing you want to do is be sitting out there making or not making money, missing on money. So always keep it in check. But there you go. Some little good news. Things are finally, coming up a little bit. Like I said, that is just the truckload average. That's kind of just across all different modes. But I looked at some of the data and pretty much most things on the average across the board nationally, they're on the rise, man. We're looking better than we have. And that is really what everyone wants. I mean, it really is, because the better the market is for brokers, or the better it is for carriers, the better it is carriers, better it is for brokers, shippers, all that same thing. Like, we all want things to get back to normality, you know what I mean? And for all of us to finally
Yep.
kind of catch a break. So
I'm with that, man. The great freight reset is upon us, so be prepared. Put yourself in front of the play, and things will be better.
I
That's
agree,
it.
bro. I agree. We are definitely hitting a great freight reset. You know, it should have happened by now. Plenty of people have said that. Lots of folks thought it was going to happen by now, as far as like predictions and stuff, but it's just gone on and on. So, you know, we hit Rick bottom. Rick
Rick
bottom.
bottom.
We hit rock bottom a long time ago. So, you know, we're dang way overdue for this crap to come back up, and everybody to see some good stuff, man. You know, so and I'll tell you, I'm on the brokers, man. Like, I don't think carriers understand this. You know, like, the more you get paid, the more I get paid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. Like I mean, per margins have just like been trash. You know what I'm saying? Even for brokers,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it is. You know, it's just
8% to 13% is not sustainable. Like,
oh, and it's bad. And you know, when you're only making, you know, 13%, or you know, we'll just round it, say 10%, you know, off a $700 load, you know, that's $70. That, man, if you're an agent, or period, even if you're on your own, you factor, you ain't getting all that money. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably maybe getting $25 of that. You know what I mean? If you're lucky. So, you know, they do better, we do better. That's all I gotta say.
that's right.
You ready to bring this young man on?
Yeah.
Is he falling asleep, bro? The
Nacho?
dog.
Yeah, dude.
He's like fucking frozen.
Hey, he's napping, dude. He's had a busy day. He's a big man.
He's had a busy day.
Big guard dog.
Your dog is playing in a continuous version of the canine version of Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone. You ever seen those movies?
I don't know.
He's a guy that gets paid to break out of
compare him to
prison.
that, dude. He's a sleepy guy. Oh, look at him. He's karate chopping like Freight Ninja.
All right, Garrett Johnson, everybody.
Garrett Johnson.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up, brother?
Garrett Johnson.
Thank you. Thank y'all to the Logistics Lounge for bringing me on. That's one hell of an intro. Kind of makes me feel like a great big hairy bald American winning machine. Make me just want to wake up and piss excellence.
Oh, dude, no, thank you for joining. And we can't take all the credit, man. Hey, the main part of the video, you made that shit was sick. That's why I used it, Gary. Like, I was like, oh, dude, this is too good, man. I love this. So thank you.
I had a good friend of mine, and I had a good friend of mine in Oklahoma City grab that roller as I was coming through with that load, and it was getting ready to rain, and he had his camera set up on the side of his car, and he was riding shotgun, and right after we shot that, he was just got his camera is cool. It's got like object tracking, so no matter where he goes, the camera follows. And it's pretty sick, and he can control it all from his phone. So he's getting the video, and right as he finished grabbing all these angles, it started downpouring. He had to dart off the interstate, pull the camera off because it's not waterproof, and then he sent it to me later, and I just put everything together with CapCut.
Hell yeah.
I love that, bro. I love that. I think you had also published that, like, unedited. Didn't you just like release that when you would first had it done, just as a rolling video?
Yeah, just as a rolling video, and just kind of showing the various angles, and then I put it all together with CapCut, and it just kind of exploded.
Dude, you take some good content, or good. You do some good content, bro. Your photography and video stuff, man. Like, it's good, brother. It really, really is. I'm serious.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's all about the angles, baby.
It is,
All
brother.
about the angles.
It also helps you have a damn nice rig, man. Let's be honest here, right? You got an award-winning rig. I mean, so that thing is absolutely amazing.
It's definitely won a couple awards with Overdrive Magazine. It's been in a couple different calendars. I mean, I don't play up there, with the big boys like Troy Massey. Those guys have amazing rigs. But it's a real working truck. I keep her clean, I keep her polished, and I put everything I can into this truck.
It shows, man. It shows, and I probably speak for a lot of drivers out there. I love the custom stuff that everyone does, man. That, like you said, Troy and people like Semi Casual. But dude, there's nothing better than a nice working truck. You know what I mean? Like that.
I agree.
That's the thing, man, because it takes so much more to keep that truck at that beautiful standard when you're working it every single day, man. Every single day. So
nope, I agree. I took with Overdrive Magazine, I did the Pride and Polish, and I took second and third 2 years in a row. I was gonna try again this year I was pushing for first, but man, every time I do, there's always a truck that's just that much better than mine, and I'm like, shit, damn it. It's all right, it's all good.
I mean, but that's still fucking a hell of an accomplishment to get second and third.
Yeah, I think the first year there was like 80 trucks in it. A couple years ago when I got second, it was like 100 maybe or something around somewhere around there. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I know it sucks, dude, that we missed you at Matt's. Like, I so didn't even really know you were freaking there till literally like it was like 2 days after.
Well, Pitcher, you gotta think, dude. We were so green behind the ears at that point. We didn't know who we were looking for.
Well, I
even posted ahead of time that I was going.
I know, man. I know. I just, dude, I didn't have my notifications on for you. That's the thing. But see, like Hunter, like I said,
it's all good.
I've been hooked up with Gary way before this. So like, didn't even know. Dude, it was like, holy shit, man. Like, missed out on meeting this freaking guy, man. Like, holy crap. And so, but all right, Gary, hey, we are going to just start off with the same question that we start everyone off with. And that is,
all right,
who is Gary Johnson and how did you become the Heavy Haul Hustler?
So it started way back in 1981 when I was born, and I came out the vagina and I went on the road. That's literally probably the best way that I could put that. My grandfather was a driver, my dad was a driver, my 3 uncles are drivers. They were all door swingers. They're all door dummies, But my grandfather, infinite in his wisdom, and he sold off his trucking business. He started a lumping business. So I learned all facets of trucking. I learned the docks and I learned being on the road. And then when I decided that I was going to go into driving, I decided, you know what? I don't want that. I want open deck. And I started flatbedding. I wanted to be able to work my loads. I wanted to know how to tarp. I wanted to know how to throw chains and straps. And I started there and I just literally tiered my way up. And I want to say in about a 3-year time, I went from flatbed to step deck to RGN and straight and then boom, multi-axle. And then as I went, I started to learn even more. These are just years back, that the more specialized you make yourself, the more sought after you are. And that's how it came to be.
All right. So why? First of all, let's talk about time frame here. What time are we talking you get into trucking? 10 years, 15, 50? What are we talking here?
Oh, shit. 21. I mean, I would have been in trucking earlier, but, you couldn't get a CDL then. So 21 was 2022. No, hold on. I'm lying. Yeah, 2022 is when I started my bout with trucking.
Sweet. Wow. You mean 2002?
I'm sorry, 2002. Excuse me. Yeah.
I was about to say, damn, bro, is my math
2022.
Yeah, sometimes my math isn't always math, and my bad.
Dude, hey, I know that's right. It's my wife. My wife says numbers are hard, bro. You know what I mean?
Numbers are hard. All the things are hard.
I feel that, bro.
Sometimes, sometimes you wake up and braining is hard.
That's fucking true. I feel that so many days. More days since I've been in logistics than before. I just will say that.
Right.
All right, man. So you were talked about, and funny, I've never heard the term door dummies or door swingers before. That's a good one. I'm definitely gonna have to put that one in my my vocabulary for trucker slang.
I've
But
got a few more that I could tell you off air that won't be so offensive.
no, those are great. Those are great. The more, the more offensive, the better, man. You know what I mean? Especially when a trucker's
We-
talking to truckers are
I
just
will-
like veterans. You know, the more
I
you can
will-
offend each other, the better.
This is very true, and I will say this: no matter the niche you're in, whether it's a van, it's reefer, flatbed, heavy haul tankers, no matter the division that you run for, and as much as we make fun of each other, like the military, we're all still brothers and sisters out here, and I will absolutely help the next person. I'll help them back in. I will go to the lengths to just get them where they need to be, because at the end of the day, there isn't an area of trucking that doesn't move this country, and without it, the world ceases to exist. Period.
That is an excellent point, and I'm not sure if you've seen as much of this as I have, Gary, but there's a lot of old school drivers out there that are very experienced that kind of gatekeep.
So
they're
Correct. And I'm going to tell you why they gatekeep, whether it be heavy haul or somebody who carries cash in a van, because there are van haulers out there that carry millions and millions of dollars in cash and you never know it. But they'll never tell you their secrets because they don't want you taking their business. That's bullshit. I will flat out tell you it's bullshit. And to anybody out there listening right now who see this show later, I don't care who you are. If you want to learn heavy haul, call me. I don't mind downloading my information. I'm not threatened by you. I'm trying to train the next era of drivers. And for those who are that scared, then clearly you don't know how to run your business. I can't haul it all. Okay, I can't. There is billions and trillions of dollars of shit out there to haul. Ain't no way I can do it. None. But if you want a slice of the pie and you want to learn, call me. I'll teach you. You know what? Hell, come ride in my passenger seat. Take care of your hotels and your meals. Come ride in my passenger seat for 6 months. I don't give a shit. I will teach anybody who wants to know. But they better be ready and prepared to learn every aspect of this lifestyle, from, getting up in the middle of the night and having to go walk into the truck stop to go use the restroom and then trying to go back to sleep, or making food out on the road, or eating out of a can, when you're on a job site and you can't go anywhere for the day. This is a lifestyle. This is not a career. It's not a job. It is 100% a lifestyle, and you better be prepared for it. Because if you're not, then you don't have any business being in my passenger seat.
All right, show's over. We can all just go home now. Gary done said really all there is to say. I mean, shit. Where do we go from here, right?
You want the truth, baby. I will give it to you hardcore and in your face, but it's rewarding. At the end of the day, if you do it right, it's rewarding. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. You cannot fail soon enough, flat out, because you're not going to learn shit until you fail.
I agree, man. And honestly, the mentality you got with it, man, is personally, I feel is what is missing from the industry when it comes to training. I mean, a lot of it is they're driver mills now for the most part. You know what I'm saying? And even when they get to the point that they're in the truck with the trainer, even then, like most of those trainers, they just see it as a financial transaction that's going on because they're making money off of this person, and to them, they're not worried about what they do when they get off their truck. So I agree, dude. If you want to learn it, we should be teaching each other stuff. Even after you're out there. I said all the time. I said it just the other day. I think Friday show that in this industry, man, the day you think you know everything is the day you need to quit. And the first person that told me that about this industry, Gary, was a driver at the time who had over 20 years of experience as he was teaching me to float gears going through downtown Fort Worth in a bobtail. And I don't know, I've learned, just kept that with me the whole time, man. I want to go back though, man. So, when we come back to this and we start getting into this deeper stuff that we're I know you're waiting to get into, people understand who Gary is. So, why the open deck thing? I mean, was it just a challenge, or you wanted to be different, or did you see when you first got into this as a flatbedder, like this is the part of the industry where I'm really going to be able to make serious money later on?
Any job that you go to, again, I know I've said that this is a lifestyle, but any job you go into, everybody wants advancement, correct? Okay, that's your number one goal, is always advancing to be better than what you were yesterday. Where is there to advance in van and reefer freight?
Yeah, I mean, really, the only thing you do is just get super, super, super niche with what you're hauling in those things, and even that
Correct.
has its limits.
It's got its limits. Correct. Absolutely. I'm 8 to 9 axles. I can still keep going. I can go perimeter. I can go dual lane. I can go Feynmanville. I can go Goldhofer. I can go buy these trailers and continue to stair step up. I can purchase a second truck and have a push truck back there. There is so many facets that can happen in open deck. You're not limited. And you, like I said, again, you have the respect of the load to get out and work it. You know, you're not just bumping a dock and sitting there for 12 hours until they decide to load you or unload you. Or, oh shit, I got to go put fuel in the reefer because it's about to die. That's about the most exercise you're going to get. You're not getting up underneath the trailer. Half those guys don't carry fuses in their trucks. They don't carry tools. I've got full tools. I've got everything that I need right here to take care of my truck and my trailer if I need to, with the exception of major parts. You know, those guys won't do that. You talk about driver mills, okay? The whole driver shortage, right? This all has to do with why I went the direction I did. Though watching trucking schools growing up, it was a 6-month ordeal. You went to class, you went and did loads with that company or with that trucking company or that driving school. You did it all from start to finish. Now you can go to truck school for 5 to 7 days and they throw you in a truck with a trainer for a couple months and you don't know jack squat. So you have nowhere to go in that driver mill with that automatic transmission, and you don't know how to back up, and you don't know nothing. I wanted more than that. I had dreams of owning my own stuff. I didn't want to work for somebody my whole life. You know, the American dream is having your own business and buying your own home and all the fun toys that we all want. I sure as hell wasn't going to do that hauling a van for $1.50 a mile.
I feel that, brother. I understand what you're talking about maxing out. I mean, even though I only was a company driver, dude, even as a company driver, I maxed out pay wise in like 5 years, bro. Like I just hustled so hard and was picky about who I worked with and the stuff I tried to learn.
Sure.
And I maxed out, man, like 5 years on my pay. And that's what made me want to go to school and get out of the truck. Cause I was like, the only thing I can do is buy a truck. And I almost did 3 times, but every time, like, man, this is a really big risk. If this fails, like, I'm done for. So,
my best year as an open deck driver, as a company guy, was 110, 120, somewhere around in there. It's not too bad for all those years ago.
It's not bad at all.
I wasn't. Hey, I say I've said me 100 million times. My best year was like 90 grand with McLean. I mean, and that was like 2012. That's still not bad, bro. Even now,
that's pretty good in 2012.
Yeah, bro. Even
right.
I know I have a friend of mine there right now. He's been there. We both started in. Well, that was 2013. I'm sorry. We started in 2012. He is still there. He has been in the 100-figure range for several years now because he's maxed out on his pay scale, seniority, and he has the best route. So yeah, dude, he works 3.5 days a week, and you know he's grossing probably $120,000 a year, maybe more than that, probably. So, but
if you're happy and comfortable with that, hey, great. But if you want more, you got to go get it. It circles back to when somebody says, and I hate this. I hate it with a passion, and it makes me want to punch people. Oh, it must be nice. Yeah, it is nice. I worked my ass off for every bit of it. That is the one phrase that will send me into an asshole turmoil. Cannot stand it because they all believe that it was all handed to me. Listen, y'all, I grew up in a trailer park in Fresno, California called Green Acres. It don't get more trailer trash than that. Okay. I was poor as shit. So everything I have, I 110,000% worked for, you know? So when that term comes across, it is the biggest thorn in my side. If you want it, you got to go get it. It sure shit ain't gonna be handed to you.
Man, couldn't have said it better, brother. Couldn't have said it better. And I think most people agree with you, man. You know, but thing is most people, they don't want it is as bad as I say to do. All right, let's keep going back, man. All right, so we're
Sure.
flatbedding, Gary. All right, Gary's flatbedding. You know, you obviously wanted to get to heavy haul. So like, how did you learn, man? Were you fortunate enough to like find mentors along the way that taught you things, or was it all pretty much self-taught with a little bit of help, or what?
I went to work for one company years and years and years ago, and this gentleman, that it was my first day there, it was orientation, and I'm just hanging out. It was like a lunch break, and I met this gentleman, and he's one of my greatest friends today. And he came in, no questions asked, completely befriended me. I don't have a gray area. People either love me or they hate me, and I'm fine with that. But this guy didn't typically kind of befriend anybody because, let's be honest, people don't like to talk to people anymore. And so, anyways, he befriended me and asked what he did in the company. He said he did heavy haul. I said, okay, tell me more. At the time I was doing flatbed and step deck, and I was kind of floating between the two. And he told me everything that he did, and I went, I'm in. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. And he goes, you got to stair step up. I said, cool. And I made it my absolute life's work to get to that point. And so I walked out that day, and a couple years went by, and I had it out with one of my flatbed managers, my step deck flatbed managers or whatever. And as I was getting ready to walk out of the office, one of the heavy haul managers stopped me, and he goes, hey, I got an oversized project. You ever done oversized? I'm like, yeah, I've done plenty of oversized. I hadn't done anything real heavy at the time, but I had done oversized. And he said, you know what? Cool. I'm going to put you on this project. We've been at it for about a year, and there's about 2-3 years left on it. He goes, go kick ass. He goes, because I was ready to take my equipment and leave. I was owner operator at the time, and literally was ready to leave the company. And he said, no, don't do that. He goes, I need you down there. Went down there and learned every single angle that I could. Learned where they made mistakes, where they thrived, and I took all of that and I utilized it to my advantage, and essentially has gotten me to where I'm at today. And we can get more into that even.
No, dude, please. Yeah, no, please do keep going, man. I was literally just about,
So
about to elaborate a little more, dude. Like, keep coming.
So there is a problem with drivers, okay? And this was the single biggest problem that company had. And it's a problem around a lot of companies. Drivers do this, okay? They run their damn mouth and they don't shut up. And they'll do it in front of a customer. They will do it in front of a consignee. They will do it in front of a shipper. They'll do it in front of other drivers with people in earshot. And this is all they do. And when they sit there and run their mouth and people are listening, they don't want them there. They don't want them on job sites. And I fixed that. When I was working for another company and I was out trying to get, contracts, I stumbled upon a load board load. This is very recently, within the last couple of years. And it was a very good paying load. I called. I was the only one that called at the time. I mean, it was late at night. The guy answered the phone and he said, I need somebody to haul this. What do you do it for? I gave him the amount. He goes, okay, I can work with that. And I showed up. Okay. And this all, by the way, this all segues and backtracks into that same story, just so that you're with me. So I showed up. And I showed up with 8 axles, and the building was supposed to be 75,000 pounds. And the guy, the shipper goes, well, let's get this thing, let's get this 95,000 pound building on there. I said, whoa, what? I said, I was told this was 75,000. I said, guys, I don't have enough axles for this right now. He goes, well, do you have more axles? I'm like, yeah, but they're in Kansas City. They were at that company, that I was working for at the time. I said, I got to have them brought out here. So the whole day goes by and everybody's scrambling, trying to figure out where the miscommunication was. Nobody knew on the agent side that it was 95,000 pounds. The only person that knew that building weighed 95,000 was the electrician and the man in charge of shipping. We went back in the schematics and walked in the building to start adding everything up on our phones on the calculator, all the weights of the various products inside, and figured out it was 95,000 pounds. So I said, guys, that literally changes everything. I said, I have to reorder permits. That's going to take at least 7 days because it was considered a super load. I said, I need the axles brought out here, and we've got a choice to make. We either leave this thing sitting on the wagon for the next 7 to 8 days, or we kick it off the wagon. I go do something else, and you guys find yourself into the carrier. Because again, this is a specialized building. It's 15 wide, 15 tall. On the trailer, it's 15 tall, 47 long, 95,000 pounds. So I had to have 2 more axles brought out to me. And I gave them what the rate was. What the rate would be to have that thing sit on the trailer for those days, tying up the equipment, or you could start from scratch and start over. And a deal was reached at the end of the day. And they gave me what I asked for. Actually, we negotiated it down a little bit because I gave them a hell of a deal. I went home for 8 days until those axles were brought out. I showed back up, put the axles on, and we took off. I took off from South Carolina and it was going to Ohio. Okay. And in Tennessee and in Ohio, you can run 24/7 pretty much up to, I want to say about 200,000 pounds. I wasn't grossing that much. And so I had 24/7 running, and I get up to the Ohio, Kentucky border, shut down, went the rest of the way. I was there by 10:30 ish that day, the next day. Sent off an email to everybody involved. The agent, again, goes back up. This was also off of the load board. Now, the load went substantially, it increased by a good 25% in cost, 25, 30%. And it was into the tens of thousands of dollars to give you, kind of a context for it. After I fired off the email and said, your building is here safe, it's being offloaded, within seconds, the project manager emailed me and said, Gary, I don't know how the hell you did that, but I dig it. Now, there were 3 buildings total. Okay. Fast forward, the second building was supposed to go. That guy showed up the next day with not the right amount of axles, and they told him he needed more. He still showed up. So then he comes back a few days later, still shows up with the wrong amount of axles and takes off, gets to the Ohio line. And now Ohio PD, because he's a little bit taller, or Ohio State Trooper has to take him in the rest of the way. They do an inspection on him at the border. They weigh him, and he's overweight on his axles. So he gets a pretty damn large fine, and it kind of backs everything up. Now they don't want that carrier is supposed to take the last 2. They left the third one on site and said, you know what? When these need to move from Ohio back down to Georgia, these are only going to be in a holding pattern. We'll move the third one straight to site, which we found out was going to be 2 months later. I got a phone call from that project manager, said, I want you to move them back. So I gave him the same rate to go to Georgia because it was only literally 100-mile distance. Okay. They went to Ohio for a holding pattern and back to a location 100 miles from its original spot, which was crazy to me, but it is what it is. Everything went flawlessly. My 2 trucks that I sent up there, I had to be at home for some personal stuff. I was on Zoom meetings with them all week, and everything that went down for the delivery, the construction manager at the job site wanted to, basically, let me give you a picture. There were 2 big buildings, right? They wanted us to come in around the building up and then back down this way. And I told him, I said, you cannot do that. These buildings are stretched out. You're going to bridge the trailers. You're going to lose a $3 million building and $500,000 in equipment. It's a bad deal. And the construction guy got kind of argumentative on the Zoom meeting, and my project manager stepped in and said, here's the deal. You're going to listen to Gary Johnson. He's going to quarterback this thing. We trust what these are our buildings until they're delivered. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to listen to him, and we're going to follow his plan. So my plan, even though more expensive, was this. We get the buildings to site, they offload them with a crane, put them on a self-mobile Gohoffer, which was I believe that we brought in a 9-line for that. And it moves at a mile and a half an hour, and it's completely steerable, and it can perfectly go around the buildings, get to location, and not have any issues. Gentlemen, the buildings got there, and everything went flawlessly. Then the third building that was still in the Carolinas that needed to go, another carrier showed up, and for what A through Z reason, and he screwed up. So they said, Gary, look, just come down here and haul the third one. So I come over and I haul the third one, and I get it there within 3 hours. Again, goes off without a hitch. That was the beginning of a beautiful relationship about 2 years ago with that project manager. He messages me a couple months later, says, I've got a project coming up, and it's a large one. And he asked me what it would cost to take some buildings from Carolinas to the Pacific Northwest. And I give him the amount. And he says, well, that's pretty steep. I said, it is. Let me break it down for you. So I broke it down. He loved the breakdown that he gave me the rest of the project to bid. And I want to say we came in at about 1.3 million, and it was handed to me 100%.
Shit,
Just a massive project. And I'm going to tell you something. This company, and don't ever let anybody tell you it can't be done. This is a company that is global. And at that moment, I had changed the way that they had done logistics. They had, and this is from my project manager's mouth, they had typically kind of always hired whoever they could get. But the second those buildings got on our wagons, me and my partner Kerry's wagons, his worries were gone. Nothing would ever happen. That project is now a little over halfway through. And to this day, we still have yet to have one issue.
dude,
Everything has gone off without a hitch, completely flawlessly. And it's opened a few people's eyes that when you go with the white glove service and everybody does everything they say they're going to do from A to Z, it's worth the money they spend instead of getting any Tom, Dick, and Harry, an imposter who's going to hit a bridge or who's going to go off route or who's going to run at night or do things not the correct way. And gentlemen, that load again came off of a load board. And that was the start of a relationship with a wonderful agent and a direct shipper.
Well, I'll tell you, for one, congratulations. That is an amazing story and testament to, if you want to make this thing happen, you can even run off the load boards and stuff.
That's correct.
Especially, with we're talking that you went from, flatbedding to this stuff. But the other two things that it tells me is that what shippers really want, and even brokers, talking to the carriers, is fucking problem solvers. That's what people want, like shippers. I can't tell you how many times a shipper has said to me, like I have plenty enough people on a list that can make a truck show up here. Like I have that. I don't need that. So if that's all you can offer, I have no need for that. You know what I mean? And so they need people that solve a problem. And maybe they don't even know that they have the fucking problem. The situation you're in, Gary, they didn't even know that it was a problem. You know what I mean? Till you showed up, you figured out the actual thing, and then the other person showed up, they screwed everything up. And, and you discovered that the root of their problem was that they used to just take whoever that they could get. Whoever said they could get it done, that's what they were doing. And what they really needed was just one person or a few people that know what they're doing, are professional, can cross all the T's, dot all the I's, make sure everything's going on. And if something happens, they know how to pivot and change the play. And that was their problem. And they didn't even know that was their problem. So
that is absolutely correct. When you get those drivers that do this talking, I eliminated that. The folks that I brought in to work with me are high-level operators. They're high-level company guys. And the owners of their companies I work with very closely, and those owners even drive and come out and do stuff with me too. And they specialize in stretch freight. They specialize in heavy haul. So when they show up with me, my customers know and my agents know that shit's going to get done. They're not going to hear any barking out of us. And everything is laid out in front. Every cost is laid out in front. I don't go back to them later and say, we're going to need more money. They know everything up front that they agreed to. They know what the detention cost is going to be. They know what they're reimbursing for if it comes into play for bucket trucks or police. They know all of that. There's no hidden fees. So if a detention day comes up or a layover day comes up, they know exactly what they're going to pay out. They're cool with that because there's nothing hidden. One thing that absolute bugs the hell out of a broker, an agent, or a shipper or a manufacturer is, what am I going to get hit with next? Oh, well, somebody's going to hold my load hostage. There's no reason to do that. Tell somebody up front what you're going to charge them. Give them what they need to know. Let them make that decision. If they choose not to use you, I'm cool with that. I am not the cheapest guy. I'm certainly not the most expensive. But you are absolutely going to pay for what I'm going to give you. When I show up to my locations with these 6 buildings, me and my guys, literally, I have them come get my guys in a gator. They come to the back. We untarp it together. We roll that tarp up together. We unchain together. And when that truck's done, That driver goes back. We grab the next truck and we do it again, and we do the same shit at loading. Everybody works together. Not a lot of people can offer that because they don't want to take the time. I will sit all day and half the night, whether at loading or unloading, to make sure our team is completely done. When that job's done, we will all collectively leave together to go get the next one.
And that goes to what my second point was, is that what people value in this industry, all of us, brokers, carriers, shippers, manufacturers, care what you are, is people who just do what they say they're going to do.
That's right.
I tell you, so many of my fucking problems would be eliminated as if when I spoke to someone and gave them direction, and they said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and give me the head nod and the thumbs up and the little, emojis, and then they actually do it. Like
heavy haul takes time, fellas. If you look at my logo, it's the Iron Cross. It's got 3 H's in there for Hustler Heavy Haul, right? But then behind it, I put a clock. I put like a grandfather clock, which, by the way, that tattoo's coming. I'm gonna get that tattoo on my forearm because it's so sick. It is so sick. And I need to get y'all hats, and I need to get y'all stickers for your coolers. I got stickers.
Same,
so y'all need to send me your addresses so I can get this shit out in the mail to you. So, it just, the clock is there because heavy haul takes time, gentlemen. It's thought out. It's methodical. You take your time. You don't freaking rush through it. You rush and mistakes happen. To hold a CDL, being out here, you are already out here with the public and everything that every other driver has to deal with, traffic-wise, the numbskulls that are merging on you and slamming on their brakes. Now imagine being upwards of 200,000 pounds. Tell me where I have to go. So the amount of offensive, defensive driving mix that goes on in my head does not stop. So when I'm done, at the end of the day, when that sun goes down and my solar power runs out, most heavy haul drivers are absolutely both mentally and extremely physically exhausted. And anybody who says that they're not, they're lying, because it is a lot that goes with this. And then you're stopping and checking your chains. You're getting underneath your trailer, especially when you have a low boy. If you've got a mechanical neck, well, you're kind of screwed. Get a hydraulic neck so you can lift it up, get up underneath there, tighten your chains, and get going down the road. Drink plenty of water. Have decent snacks throughout the day. Because you're limited on your time that you can roll, especially now. We lost 4 hours of daylight time. That's crucial. Right. You want to see you want to know what a heavy hauler does? We have till we open our eyes till we close our eyes, flat out, because we're typically up 4 or 5 a.m. As soon as that sun cracks the dawn, we're rolling. If I'm not real tall, if I'm only wide, I'll do the 30-minute rule where I'm leaving 30 minutes before sunrise. In most states you can, except for Georgia, yes, 30 minutes after sunrise. So if I'm tall, I won't do that though, because everybody needs to see what they're doing. And then we want, wherever we stop, whether it be a rest area, a pull out, a truck stop, we need to be parked and done before everybody else gets there. So we have a section to park at. So, and if it's summertime, we damn sure don't want to be out at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it's 110 out. That's hard on your equipment. You want to be done by 2, 3 o'clock. It's just what we do. Heavy haulers are up before everybody else, and we're off the road typically for everybody else, other than the folks that run night.
They're like the farmers of the trucking industry.
That's exactly exactly it. We get up at the cock-a-doodle-doo.
That's it. Hey, I'm only saying this because I need you both. Need you to remember something. Show you this. We had a guy on our show a few weeks ago. His name is Braden. He's actually a farmer in East Texas, but he built his own fucking trailer to go and get his equipment. Like he goes and hauls his own stuff from John Deere, like out of Montana, South Dakota, and all this stuff, like the sprayers, the combines. Like funny enough, he made the joke on our show. He's like, I'm a farmer with a heavy haul hobby. Like seriously, bro. He told us that. He's like, man, he said, if I could just do heavy haul shit the rest, like forever, he's like, that's what I do. But I'm only saying because you got to remind me, you would die over this trailer, bro. I mean, it is 100% custom. He's got like water tanks on it, fuel tanks, like Dude,
That's
it's
awesome.
this thing is nuts. I think he said it's like 57 feet long or 70. It's freaking crazy. It's
And
absolutely
see, and
nuts.
he can get away with a lot more than we can because he's ag exempt, so he can do pretty much anything he wants.
Yes, but funny enough, he actually told us told a story on the show again. He was going up to Montana, South Dakota. I can't remember what the fuck it is, but he says he likes to travel the back roads. He's like, not to avoid anything. He's like, there's just less traffic and there's less people. He's like, and when you're
Right.
hauling, 57 feet of freaking trailer behind you, he's like, even empty, you just want to deal with the few people that you can deal with. So he's like, I like
Correct.
travel on back road. He was coming across on a back road, and it had, after he had picked up, I think he said he'd picked up a sprayer. So, talking about the big John Deere sprayers with the arms that fold out or whatever. And they pulled him in, and they pulled him in because they thought that he was trying to run ag rules, but he was really for hire. Because I guess in parts of the country that, like, that's a really big thing. Like, these farmers will try to run these ag rules, but they're running commercially and stuff. But like, he had so many things that the guy was like, man, like, you're lucky you're an ag guy. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do this stuff for other things. And
Right.
so it was a whole deal. So, but my point is he was saying that even he gets messed with a lot, even with the ag stuff, that he gets some slack because there's so many people out there that do it wrongly. And he's like,
Right.
a lot of farmers, he's like, are like me. They know how to do this heavy haul shit because of the equipment we deal with. So yeah.
So a little bit more. So kind of let's continue on that run we were talking about with this customer. When I went on that project years ago, it was data. Okay, and I learned a lot about data. And for the most part, when you see my all of my loads or all of my hashtags on my posts, and I put project freight, project manager, project cargo, gentlemen, that's what I specialize in. I specialize in data. I don't care who knows it. I'm fine with that. And I found my way in by working my ass off. I didn't knock down somebody's door and say, here's 10 grand, let me come haul a load for you. All I said is, give me a shot. Give me a shot, and I will show you what I can do. And that has absolutely worked, and
Yeah.
in my intro, and this is, and I've actually had people tell me how conceited it is, and I'm like, it's not really conceited. It's still actually very humble, that I
Know
put in
your
there that,
worth.
yeah, well, not well, yes, know your worth, but I don't have that in my bio, but I have hustle till you no longer need introduction. That should be anybody's goal. Okay. I've had people message me or email me, and I'll give them a rate, and they'll tell me that's god awful expensive. I can have it done for a fraction of that. And I will tell them back very professionally, I'm cool with that. Please, by all means, go find less. If you find yourself on the 5 o'clock news and you need my help, that rate's no longer going to be the same. And it's not that I'm trying to screw anybody, because now you got to pay for a wrecker to fix whatever happened, or you got to pay for a crane to come out and transload that. It's not me making it not cheap. You made it not cheap on yourself. So you could either do it the right way or do it the wrong way. Well, my customer's not going to go for that amount. Again, I'm fine with that. If your customer doesn't want to pay that, I probably don't want to haul for them anyways, because they're not going to take me seriously as much as I'm going to take care of their product.
Well,
It's
let me
really
ask you
just
something,
that
Gary.
simple.
Let me ask you something. So, Pedro and I, we're on X pretty heavily, and we talk to a lot of drivers, but you don't see as many drivers as you would think you would see on LinkedIn. And obviously, you have a heavy presence on there, and like your experiences and like what you're doing over there. Like, hell, I told you, I didn't even think you were a driver because of how you present yourself and like how you really bring it to the table. But what you're saying, like, people are approaching you for projects. Like, how important do you how important do you think LinkedIn is for drivers, especially owner operators or people that are really just trying to put a name out there? Like, how has that experience been for you?
Oh man, I cannot even begin to tell you how. So listen, LinkedIn, I thought for years was nothing more than a career builder. Okay,
Right.
I had that thing all the way back in like was it 2010 or 2012? I think when I opened a LinkedIn, and I never really gave it a thought. But man, in the last 3 or 4 years, I have leveraged the shit out of it. I could care less about Instagram. I could care less about, I don't even have Facebook. I could care less about X. I could care less about the old tickety talk. LinkedIn is the platform if you're a professional. No matter what industry you're in. I don't care who you are. Period. If you want exposure, you get out there, you open it, and you run that shit into the ground and take it to the sky. Okay? You don't stop. This is the part that people don't get. Everything I post, it isn't just about me. I post about every aspect. You see me post shitty, load board loads. You see me posting about, brokers and, who are bad and who are good, or carriers who are good and who are bad. Or you see me posting about what I like to call imposters, people hitting bridges. I'm not limiting myself. If you don't like my, I guess if you want to call it content, because I don't look at myself as a content creator, I'm fine with that. I don't, I do have a professional filter, but I'm going to call out those bad actors because, like in the beginning of your show, you said that there's less companies out there. Are some of them going out of business? Sure they are, because of X through Z financial reasons. But others are going out of business because they're hitting shit. They can't afford the insurance. They're screwing themselves. Okay, so when they do that, does it take somebody off the table? Absolutely. I don't want a broker or an agent or a manufacturer to have to use one of those guys and get embarrassed when something happens. I feel bad for that situation. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but there are others out there like me that are willing to to haul your stuff and do it right. And no, you're right. Not many drivers know how to utilize LinkedIn the way it should. I have leveraged the hell out of it to build business. And it has been the single most advanced tool that's been free. I don't pay for the premium. My analytics are off the charts because I bring realism to what I do. Somebody made a comment the other day to me, and they said, well, why don't you go out and cold call? Why don't you go find your own damn direct business? I'm like, I do that. I do that already. I make those phone calls. I'll go visit somebody. I'll be brought up from a company. That same project manager I talked about earlier brought me to Ohio to do a heavy haul consultation for him, paid me to do that so I could show him how those buildings can get hauled because somebody told him they needed to be on a perimeter trailer. And I'm like, no, we'll put them on a platform trailer. Here's what we need to do. By the way, here's the size tarps you're going to need to order because they were taking care of all of that. So go back to all those posts of those gray tarps. I ordered all those with him and they fit like a glove. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to leverage LinkedIn for that. You have to know how to talk to people. You just can't go up to them and say, let me haul your freight. I'll do it better than anybody else. No. My resume is LinkedIn. There you go. That's what we need. My resume is 100% LinkedIn, and I send people my link. You want to know who I am? Go visit my LinkedIn. Here you go. It's 100% open. It's 100% public. I hold nothing back. Here you go. Go find out whatever you want to find out, and ask me questions when you have them.
I fucking love that. Pedro, clip that. Put down that time marker, because
why don't you fucking clip it? Why do I have to be the clip bitch? Why don't you clip it?
You do the clips.
I already clipped.
That's fucking killer, though. Yeah, I'll mark
and I wanna. I know Gary can't see this because
this is gonna be one of those things, man. Like you said, Gary, fucking people ask you, why don't you go out and do this? You do it. Fuck complaining about broker transparency, all this bullshit. If you want to make your business good, go out and fucking make your business good.
You know where people fail? I'm going to tell you where people fail. This is the single biggest reason why people fail at being an owner-operator. They'll take their $20,000 they have in the bank, they'll go buy the shittiest truck and the shittiest trailer, and when they blow a motor a week later because they're running load board shit, they can't afford to they don't have $50,000 in capital, okay? Buy new. I don't care what anybody says. Go buy a brand new truck that has a warranty. Oh, well, I can't get commercial credit. Okay, cool. Go lease a truck then. The first truck I ever owned, I leased. and it was brand new. I leased it from a freaking dealer out of Utah. That gave me my commercial credit. Then when you play with somebody else's money, and then you get the commercial credit that gives you the loans to go buy your equipment. And
It's
then you start knocking down doors. You knock down doors until you get where you want to get.
funny you brought up that lease thing about using that as part of things. We had some ladies on that they said the same thing as a piece of advice of like why a lot of carriers don't make it is they buy crappy equipment. You know, like they try to be the exact thing that they complain about shippers and brokers being, and that's cheap.
They want the thing is that somebody told them there's a lot of money to be made in trucking, and truth be told, there is, but they're not listening to what they need to do. They just jump into it. Okay, and when I say lease equipment, I'm not talking about a crappy lease purchase program that only benefits the mega carrier. You go to a dealership and you lease from them.
Yeah, traditional
Okay.
lease. Yeah.
Because listen, for everybody who's listening, look up Wasatch Leasing in Salt Lake City, Utah. They are attached to the HIPAA Freightliner up there, and go lease a truck. There's no credit check. All you need is your name and a credit card to pay the payment. You can go lease a brand new truck from them. Wasatch Leasing. I will have people knocking down their door every day of the week and twice on Sunday because I believe in what they did gave me my boost. Greatest bunch of people up there, and I never missed a payment in 4 years. When that lease was over, I chose not to make the balloon payment, and I went out and got a loan, and I bought another truck.
Nice, dude. Freaking A, bro. I love
Fucking
that.
right.
And I like
That's it.
I love it.
Do your fucking research.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to do your research. Find a niche in this market. It could be a tanker niche. It could be a flatbed niche. Find your customers at what you're really good at. Just like Novocaine, fellas, it works every time. You beat it into the ground until you know it. Okay?
Oh, that's like Novocaine. I'm gonna start using that shit.
All right. Hey, Pedro, before you get to your next question, Gary,
Yep.
what's the craziest shit you've ever hauled ODO dub?
I had a pretty wicked dump bed that was 24 foot wide. I picked up in Casper, Wyoming, and I took to Seattle for a gold mine that was going to Alaska, and I had to take it to the port of Seattle. That thing took almost a month to get delivered. It was insane. The route that we had, we were waiting on permits. We waited on an Oregon permit for like 2.5 weeks. We waited on police escorts for another week or two in Washington. We had to have traffic control. Like, we had to have the whole nine. And it was just going from Casper to Seattle. It was nuts. But that was one of my fun ones. I'll send y'all a picture of that one later on down the road. But, you know, I'm not big into hauling yellow iron. You know, there's too many mega carriers that do that. That's why I specialize in stretch freight and buildings and, you know, natural gas coolers. I will haul any of that stuff. And, you know, it takes the right person to haul stretch freight. There's a lot of imposters out here that, again, let's go back to the cheap equipment. They're buying a lot of people's older stretch equipment that's falling apart. It's breaking at, you know, they put loads on it at a customer, it snaps in half. You know, if you're going to spend the money, go get the right trailer. I have 2 trailer manufacturers that I believe in wholeheartedly, XL and Alpha, and I own one of each right now. This Alpha Super Stretch I purchased from Jimmy Mancini of Superior Truck Trailer. He's on my LinkedIn as well. You know, I've purchased my XL from Hale out in North Carolina. You know, all these folks that I work with, they have literally the best equipment, and you will have drivers tell you till the cows come home, don't buy an XL, don't buy this, don't buy that. And then I tell them, until you pull one and you know the ins and outs of them, don't say shit. If you've had an issue, great, you've got something to say. But I've ran into people who have never pulled any of these trailers that I've ever owned, and they will talk crap. But you know what? I don't say anything about a Fontaine trailer or a Globe trailer or any of those other manufacturers because I don't own them. Other guys do. They like them. Great. Everybody's got their preference. I'm just giving you mine, XL and Alpha. Phenomenal fucking trailer. This new one I have is a super stretch. It goes from 34 foot to 60 foot. Gentlemen, you don't get better than that. That becomes super niche. So if you've got it, in my step deck, it's a 50 ton. It goes to 67 feet. I'm 8 axles on both. So anybody out there that's got that market that you want me to haul for you, give me a shout. Send me a DM on LinkedIn. We'll talk. We will talk turkey, and I will show you what I can do. Or if you need to know before I can show you, go to my LinkedIn. That's my resume. I've got a ton of photos on there, and every photo is mine. I can assure you that. And if you need a picture of me going like this in front of the load, hell, I could do that too, since a lot of brokers are, asking for that right now. I don't care. I will do whatever it is you need to prove to you that I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to get it done the right way. Don't expect me to do shit the shady way. Don't expect me to run things at night if the state doesn't allow it. Don't expect me to go off route. If I tell you it's going to take this amount of days to get there, then that's what it's going to be. If I happen to get it there earlier because we didn't have a major traffic issue or something happened, then great. We got her done early. If not, it'll get there. You don't have to micromanage me. Hell, I will give you the link to my e-log, and you can track every time this truck decides to fart or I roll down a window. And most people like that. That way I don't have to download your tracking link and put 10,000 apps on my phone. I will give you a direct link to my Motiv, and you'll know exactly where your product is. That means you don't have to call me.
Ooh.
You know exactly where it's at.
Hey, shout out Rob Carpenter.
I literally was just
Motiv.
about to say
But
that.
hey, if we can get a fart tracker from Motiv, Gary, we'll put it on logisticsloungeshow.com so we can track your farts every single time.
Listen, gentlemen, depending on what I eat for the day, I assure you it is not pretty. These windows go down quite often.
Dude, I saw some guy, he had a track for every truck stop that he took a poop at. And I saw that on Reddit, and that was one of my
dear
favorite
God.
things of all time. But dude, talking about buildings, have you ever been approached to move like a house, like a historical site house? Or
No,
anything
but
like
that is definitely something I would love to have the opportunity to do. But a lot of those moves, those get done with modular trailers, which I don't have, but it doesn't mean that I can't go buy the equipment. Listen, again, to anybody
Sure.
out there talking to me or listening in, if you've got something to move and I don't have the equipment for, if you want me to move it for an extended amount of time on multiple moves, I assure you, I will go buy that equipment. I am not above going to my bank and saying, hey, I've got a financial agreement from you, the shipper, from you, the customer, from you, the broker, that I'm going to go move 100 buildings for you over the course of the next 2 years, but they're 130,000 pounds, and I need to go get a 232 stretch setup. By God, I'm going to do it. Or if I need to go get a perimeter, if I need to go get a dual lane, if I need to go get a gold hopper, I don't mind doing that. But if you want me, you have to give me exactly that. Talk about customers and shippers wanting to lock in rates. That really doesn't happen with heavy haul, in my opinion. There's no lane. When somebody calls me and says, what lane do you run? I run the whole damn country. Why am I going to limit myself? Why be stupid? That's dumb.
There's
want
no,
me to
there's
go
no,
from-
yeah, I
you-
couldn't imagine there's lanes for heavy.
There
haul.
there are drivers out there that will only go from here to here, and that's
Why?
it. I don't know. I've never understood that in all my years. But if you want me to haul for you and you want to give me a project, let me know. I'll go buy the equipment for it. No problem. And then I'm going to bring in my high-level partner carriers, because again, I'm a one-man show, guys. Okay, but I'm going to bring in those that are work at the high level. You can still dish out all the paperwork. I don't care. I don't want that headache. Y'all do it. Okay, brokers have a purpose in this world. That purpose is to do paperwork. I don't want it. I don't want to sit there and go, I'm going to broker this out and I'm going to broker that. I don't want the headache, guys. Let me go get the customers
Right.
and y'all do the paperwork. I'm fine with that. If I was in a freaking office, I'd go postal. I'd probably shoot myself. No, I'm kidding.
Do
I'm
you
not going to
work
do that.
with Gary?
But I
Gary,
couldn't do it.
Do you work with brokers, Gary?
I do. Absolutely, I do. I work with lots of them. I work with direct shippers and
How much
brokers.
of your time do you spend educating brokers on projects?
I very, very little, to be honest with you, because most people who call me do know what they're doing, but there are a few out there that I give an education to, and it is the folks that I talk to, who they ask, let's get it right, they ask for the education. I don't just give it to them like they're a piece of shit and they don't know what they're talking about. If they ask me to educate them, I am all too happy once again to download that information. Because you know what? If they last longer than me in this world, well, then guess what? They get to take that knowledge with them. The only thing I can hope and pray is that everything I download to every driver or every broker and agent or shipper, take that with you guys. Okay, take it with you and give it to the next guy.
I
Gary,
love that.
If I could, I wanted to. I have a question I've been waiting to answer, but I'll get back to that one because we're just kind of on a roll. But I want to stick with where you're at right now. All right. So, what type of percentage would you say, or how often have you like dealt with brokers in this sector that either they don't know what the fuck they're doing or no, very, 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 very little? Like, is that very common with you guys, like it is over for us in more traditional market, dealing with people who have no clue what they're doing and should not be in this business?
Yes, there is a lot of them out there. There are imposter brokers and agents just like there are carriers, okay? And there are those that want to get into this industry or get into this facet of the industry, this market of the industry. And I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, educate me. First off, I'm going to tell you all this. If you reach out to me and if you're a carrier and you're a driver and you want education, we're probably going to work together. But if you're an agent asking me for a consultation, gentlemen, that comes at a cost, okay? That absolutely could. And it's not just the cost of you guys going to get the loads and giving them to me. We're going to talk turkey ahead of time. That's number one. Education doesn't always come free, right? But number two, I have showed up to many, many, many loads and I've been told, well, it's this size, it's that size, and here's what it is. And then you show up and it just grew by 2 foot or it just grew by a foot, okay? When you are an agent and if you're doing overdimensional, you better ask the question, what are the dimensions? Because inches matter, okay? Feet matter, details matter. And if that person doesn't know how to read a tape measure, man, let me tell you what. I posted about this not long ago. I said I'm going to host a school for tape measure comprehension because nobody knows how to read a tape anymore. Nobody knows how to ask what that piece weighs. And this isn't just for the agents. This is for the shippers and the manufacturers too. Please know what you're giving to these people. And it doesn't do you any good to lie and say it's one size and you show up as another, because if you do that, you just put yourself in a really shitty spot. Because there's some drivers out there that maybe they'll only haul up to 12 wide. And you told them it was 12 wide. They ordered their permits for that. They get there and it's 14 wide. Oh, well, it's just 2 feet more. Haul it. No, they won't do it because they don't want to, they don't want to go out and reorder the permits. And if they do, it's going to be really expensive and they're going to ask you to reimburse those permits because you're the one that screwed up. You have to know what you're doing. It's expensive. If you run specialized, you run OD, you run heavy haul, it is expensive to run this equipment. It is expensive to purchase permits. It is expensive to have pilot car. Everybody out there who doesn't know what it costs to run a pilot car, a decent chase is going to cost you $1.85 a mile and $100 overnight. If you want to lead, it's going to cost you $1.90 to $1.95 a mile and $100 overnight. You want a good high pole, it's going to cost you between $2 and $2.25 a mile and $100 overnight. Now there are some out there with high hopes and expectations because they run wind and they want to charge $2.75 a mile, and I tell them go stay on wind. Keep it. I don't want nothing to do with that shit. I despise wind. I want nothing to do with that at all. So they can keep it. But these are the charges that I pay out of my pocket. So when I give you a rate, I assure you that's not in my line haul. That's extra. Because just like anything else, when you go buy a car, you pay a fee for that car to be shipped to that dealership. There are additional fees that will get passed down to the consumer. That's how that rolls.
You're right. It's called, what do they call it? I don't know. It's still called, what they used to call it, the delivery fee. I think is literally what they used to call it. Is the delivery
Correct.
fee on your final.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So let's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, bro.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I say so. Let's stay on this, man. I'm trying to think of how to word this on the reverse this question so it makes sense properly. Maybe it'll just make sense altogether. But what do you, Gary, as a carrier, when you deal with brokers, let's just say it's a broker you've never dealt with, you're calling the first time, like, do you expect them, some people say this is stupid. I don't think this is a stupid question. Do you
There's no
expect
stupid questions.
every
Keep
broker
going.
that you deal with, when you deal with them, to know all that you know? What I mean by that is for them to know, oh, Tennessee requires a permit from this time to this time and daylight, blah, blah, blah. Like, do you expect that? Or do you, being the professional, understand, hey, there are going to be some things that miss, and I'm probably gonna have to teach this person, and maybe this person's going to have to teach me something. Where do you fall with that thing? Because a lot of carriers, they're dicks with brokers. Like, you call them and they'll ask questions like, oh, I didn't think about that, and they go off on you, go on this tangent, like you're just supposed to be a know-it-all.
I listen. If you are in overdimensional and heavy haul, yes, I will answer that question. I do expect you to know, not what I know, but I expect you to know at least enough to get you by. And if you don't, I will give you that education on what it's going to cost. And this is what I hear for folks that I've never really worked with before. This is what I hear, and it's a line that I hate. Well, I move this lane all the time, and I can do it for this. Cool. Get after it. Go get it, kitty cat. Because if you're moving that lane, and this will go back to what I said earlier, there's no lane for heavy haul, then go move it for that. Why are we even talking?
So
and I will be professional about it. I'm not going to be a dick. I'm not going to call them names. I'm not going to hang up on them. I'm going to give them the education of why I do it for this amount because of the XYZ costs. And they'll just tell me, oh, well, you're just too expensive. I don't even have that much in it. So that tells me if you don't have that much in it, then you didn't bid it right. And you're not educated enough in the world of heavy haul and overdimensional. This goes back to the post that I put when we talk about, 70, 80, and 100,000 pound loads that are going X amount of miles, and they've got it on the board for $2,800. What? That doesn't even remotely touch what the permit costs are going to be. There are states out there that are ton per mile, a lot of them. And if you run through those states, it's going to be a really expensive permit. Now, whether they know that or not, I believe that should be up to them to educate themselves. But if that's not, I'll give them the education. But I'm not going to be a dick about it because, again, not everybody knows what I know. There are people out there that knows a lot more than me. Hell, there are mega haulers out there like Mammut and Oxbow and all of these guys that move millions of pounds. I have no idea how to even scale that, but they do. I'd love to learn, Will they teach me? Who knows? Maybe one day. But until then, I'll move all the stuff that they don't want to move, which is the heavy haul stuff that it's it's of no consequence to them. They want the mega heavy shit, right? Until then, I'll keep moving what I'm moving. You find your niche in the market and you stick with it. So yeah, right. I will absolutely educate somebody if they want to be educated, but I'm not going to be a dick about it.
Okay, so I love to hear that. So let's take that a step further. Gary, like if you say I call you, Gary. We don't know each other, but just say I'm calling you, that, hey, Gary, I got this OD thing, blah, 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 man. Maybe I'm up front and say, hey, kind of new to this, still learning my little ropes, but customer needs me to bid this out. Look for someone knows what they're doing, can, kind of help me figure this out so I can, oh, and we lost them.
How the fuck do we just what?
Son of a gun, dude. Son of a gun.
He didn't plug his phone.
There he is. There.
My bad. Sorry. My bad. Sorry.
You hit the back button, didn't you?
No. I seen the chat. I seen the chat button pop up, and I thought maybe there were questions, and I'm like, well, what's that? That's what I get for touching shit.
All good, man.
Sorry.
So anyway, I don't know if you know where I lost you, but like I said, you had said you would give people the education and everything,
Yes.
But say I was a broker, man, and I called you and kind of new to the whole OD thing, and say, Gary, this is what I need, man. I kind of don't know what I'm doing, but I kind of do. Like, this customer's going to pay good. They just need me to help bid this out. Will you help me figure this stuff out? Let's just say fee aside, Gary. Let's just say we're talking, and I'm giving you some good stuff. You're like, man, okay, this guy knows enough to be dangerous, not enough that I need him to know, but he's got some good stuff going on here. This might be worth my time, or is it once you feel that thing is like, yeah, this person doesn't know enough of this. I I'll give them the information, but I really don't want to work with them because it's just going to be too much of a headache. Like, how do you feel with that, man? Because you said you're willing to teach
It's
carriers, but are
it,
you also willing to
it's a
maybe
mixed
help?
bag.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. It's really how you present yourself. So there was a comment made about me earlier that it's you know it's how I present myself, right? You guys didn't think I was just a driver. It's the same for me. If you present yourself like you don't even have to know what you're doing, but if you present yourself in a professional manner and make me believe that you know what you're doing, we're going to go down that road. But if you just sound like you are absolutely clueless, then in my opinion, you need to start smaller. You really need to start smaller and work your way up because you can't. It'd be just like me, somebody calling me and say, "Hey, let's move something that's 1,000,000 pounds." I know that's outside my wheelhouse. I'm gonna tell them, go call a mega hauler. That's their wheelhouse. You know, I'm not even gonna remotely try that because I've not even stair stepped up to that level, right? It's the same thing on a broker side. If you have not stair stepped to that level, you need to dial it back a notch before we have that conversation.
I feel you, man. But do you ever get people that that call you, Gary, that don't know you and know you're, seeing you online, and they just, hey, this guy does heavy haul, and they call you, hey, man, I got a 12-foot wide steel plate that weighs 55,000 pounds. Do you get a lot of those calls, or people make mistakes dealing with you? No, really.
Everybody that let's go back to the resume of LinkedIn. Everybody that contacts me knows me through LinkedIn. I get a DM. Hey, love your content. Let's talk. Here's what I got going on. Here's your, what's your email? They'll send me their proposal, and then we'll chat on the phone and we'll talk about it. And if, they don't like me and I don't like what they got going on, then we go separate ways. But, they all remain followers, and it's not a bad relationship. I've had several people that I've not worked with, but I've quoted for them, and it gets to the point that sometimes the quotes feel like they're, you're just throwing numbers out in the wind and you're not getting this and you're not getting that. And then there are some out there that I have found out recently. This is the part as a carrier that you have a hard time swallowing. There are folks on my LinkedIn that I recently found out that were taking my numbers, intentionally chopping them to gain the freight. So you really have to be careful who you deal with.
Dude, I can't really
think about how cutthroat the industry is, right? It's already cutthroat. Okay. I do everything I can. I do everything I can to secure my freight and show people why they should work with me, per se. Again, they don't have to. You're absolutely welcome to go work with whoever want, whether you pay them less or you pay them more. I'm fine with that. Okay. But there are those out there that you will bid an entire job on with, and we're talking about 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 loads. And you come up with a total number, and you find out later that those loads are getting ran for substantially less from somebody you put numbers with, and they're moving with that person. Yeah, there you go. Scratch your heads, gentlemen, because it is a fucked up way to find it out. When you are in a niche part of the industry, everybody knows everybody in some capacity. Okay. And even if they don't know everybody, you find out through the grapevine. And I assure you that grapevine is very, very, very thin. Because when I got a phone call and said, aren't you doing this? I'm like, no, I put a bid in with these 3 people, and oh, well, one of those 3 is moving the stuff. I'm sorry, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
So then I call one of my contacts overseas, and I get the whole scoop. I assure you, gentlemen, it's one hell of a punch, to the gut.
Yeah, no, so I work in the LTL refrigerated consolidation game,
yep.
And it is such a niche market to where it's like, if we fail, or even if we don't fail, someone will come and undercut us, and then one of our friends in the industry comes and takes that business. Well, wouldn't you know it, 6 to 8 months later, they're coming back to us. So it's like the circle of life. I
That's
guess
exactly what it is.
It is the circle of life. Cause shout out Lion King, but it is like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, but
Did
you
we lose
gotta.
Pablo Potato there?
Pedro Potato's gonna get himself a beer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. But
I love what I do, man. This is a passion for me. I don't do this for fun. I do it because it's a passion that burns deep inside. People become pilots, people become doctors, people become lawyers. Whatever their dream, that passion that burns for them, it keeps them going every day. One of the
exactly.
things that I was
That's
taught at a
logistics,
very
man. That's transportation, trucking, whatever it is. I
And
call it a
when
drug.
Yeah,
It's a
it is. It
drug.
is. It is. And I was taught at a very young age by my grandfather before he passed away in '94 was that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I don't get
Boom.
up and bitch about what I do. I don't. I get up and I love it. I get up, I get myself a cup of coffee so others may live. By the way, that's my punchline for a lot of years. Coffee so others may live. I'm gonna coin that shit. But I get up and I drink my coffee and I do my pre-trip and I check my load and boom, we're off and run into the races, and we're doing it in the safest manner possible. We're making sure again in that offensive defensive mode. Offensive mode if we need to maneuver lanes, defensive if we need to get on the brakes and let somebody on the on ramp because nobody knows how to, get on the daggone gas and get past a big truck, or folks who,
Yeah.
when you're split 2 lanes, 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, and you got an on ramp, and then somebody goes, "Oh shit," because they didn't look to begin with what they're up against. They don't
Right.
look over their shoulder. They don't check their mirror, or they're playing on their daggone phone. And next thing you know, they're finally they get halfway down your load, and that's when they decide to punch it. And I have to watch them the whole time, as well as watch. It's like having your eyes go 2 different ways into 2 different mirrors at the same time, and it's insane. Or I'm on the CV telling my chase car, drop back, I got to get on the brakes. Or sometimes I don't have time to grab the mic. I just have to get on the daggone brake so somebody can get in front of me, or they end up on the shoulder. And I don't want that for them. I don't want them on the shoulder because it's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for me, but people don't pay attention. I took a summer off of trucking. Okay. This gets deep. And I decided to do driver education. And I taught teenagers how to drive for 3 months. Had 100% success rate. It was a company called Drive America in Fresno, California. Had an absolute blast. Man, I had so much fun with those kids. Do you know, all those kids were all too happy to listen and learn what I had to teach them. You know who had the biggest problem with? Adults and foreigners. Foreigners because they couldn't understand English. They didn't know what I was trying to teach them. And adults who had gotten DUIs and the judge made them be there. And I'm like, look, take this corrective action and you won't go down this road. Because in California at the time, they were making you retake your driver's test if you got a DUI. Not just the written portion. You had to take the driving portion, and I had to sign off on it. So if you wanted to be a dick, well, then we were going to sit there for days and days and days until you decided, well, this is what I should probably do to get my license back. Just do it right. That's all. It's not hard.
You were who, brother? You have a good soul. Ain't no way in hell I'm teaching driver education to nobody. Like, oh man, forget that. I couldn't do it.
I had this young lady. I had her dad wanted to ride along, so he was in the back seat, and we went to pull into an Albertsons parking lot because as a grocery store, because I like to teach the kids how to park and how to back out and all the things, right? And as we made the right turn, she punched the gas instead of hitting the brake. Well, I've got a brake on my side. I don't have a steering wheel, but I have a brake. And I always told the kids, I said, I don't care how strong you are, I will overpower you if something happens. Well, she punched it, we ran into the parking lot, and I slammed on the brakes, and I grabbed the steering wheel, and I jerked us, and we missed these old people. Inches, guys, inches. And I'm pretty sure that old man shit his depends right then and there. And she is absolutely hysterical. The dad, I thought he was going to have a heart failure. And she's like, I'm done. I'm not driving anymore. I'm like, yeah, you are. You're going to keep driving. I said, I need you to get out of the car, come around, sit in the driver or the passenger seat. I went and I parked us at the back of the parking lot. I had her and her dad get out. Like, you know, she got her composure. About 15 minutes later, when her heart rate was down, I said, you need to get back in and we need to drive. And I said, Dad, hop in the back seat. Let's get going. And he's like, I don't know if it's a good idea. I said, here's the deal. If she does not get back in this driver's seat right now, you're going to be driving her around until she's 60 years old because she's never going to get behind a driver's seat. And she got back behind the driver's seat. And I said, here's the deal. It happens to the best of us. You're going to screw up. You're going to have an accident. Okay. It happens, but you've got to get going again. And she did.
And here's the twist of that story. She is now one of Gary's drivers. She hauls.
Listen, all right, let's talk.
Cool, bro. That
would
cool.
be golden. All right, so let's go down that road about women in trucking, right? I don't care what color, creed, religion, race, woman, man. I don't care who you are. If you can do the job, you're absolutely welcome in this industry. I know a heavy hauler. Her name is Sigourney, and she has been doing this for a long time, and that woman is awesome. She knows even more than I do. I assure you, she does a lot more axles than I do. She's been around it a lot longer than I have. But any woman who wants to get into heavy hauling, do it. But you can't be afraid. But I will say this, and this is the first time I've ever encountered this man in it. I got to tell you, I'm going to turn my light on in here because it's starting to get dark out. So I was in Fort Worth a couple weeks ago, and I've never encountered this, like I said. And this lady, she was trying to back into a spot. It wasn't terrible, whatever. And there was a guy back there assisting her, so I didn't jump out. And she couldn't get it. And I've seen this happen a lot. People get frustrated, and they just take off. I'm like, well, there she goes. She's done. She come back around, and she parked by his truck. She got out, talked to him. He got in her truck. They're not team drivers, okay? And she works for a mega carrier, okay? He gets in her truck and backs it in the spot for her, and then she gets in her truck. Now, I don't care if it was a man that did it. I don't care if it's a woman that did it. If you cannot back up your truck, get out of my industry. You don't belong here. Or go back and go get the education you need. That's the driver farm we talked about. The reason why they want automatic transmissions, the reason why there's a driver shortage, in my opinion, that is a farce statement choreographed by those in power to put any driver they can in the seat. And when the market's so saturated, like it is now, rates go to the toilet.
It's a retention problem. That's what it is.
I agree. There is a retention problem, but there's no such thing as a driver shortage.
No,
okay,
no.
But that retention problem stems from everybody wanting to put any Tom, Dick, and Harry in a driver's seat. They don't run driver schools for 3 or 6 months anymore. They don't give them what they need to know. Well, let's just throw an automatic.
You're seeing CDL schools going for 7 days now, and they're
dude. If you go, that is correct. That is correct. If you go to any of these mega carriers, it lasts for about 7 days, and then you're out on the road with a trainer, and you've got your CDL, because they are authorized to give you your CDL.
I literally reposted a video on X from Canada. It was from a news station. They went undercover at a Canadian driving school, man. And like they were breaking every fucking law that you could think of to freaking break. I mean, they were like literally telling people, oh, we can have you on the road by the end of the week. And they're like, what about classroom time? Oh, we don't do any classroom time. We teach everything out here. Now, this place was 100% illegal, like 1,000%. And so any of you said this isn't a case of the worst, but it was just the fact that, and they even made this clear in the news story. And it's funny that you actually have did this other part, but they said, to be clear, in Canada, you do not have to have a license or any type of certification to run a truck driving school, but you do if you want to do a regular driving school like you were
Right.
at. And I was
Right.
like, what? Like I was floored. I was like, I've at least thought, man, someone in that company has to have some type of accreditation from somewhere, you know, so the company's legit. I'm going to look it up here in the States and see if it's the same, but I bet you that it probably is, that you don't have to have any type of special certification.
You do you do now. That law got handed down a couple years ago that you have to be an accredited school approved by the government to have a truck school, because there was truck schools popping up all over and people were buying CDLs. You know, several DMV workers in the state of California years ago went to prison for selling CDLs, because you could just go in and pay that person or call them out on the side or whatever they were doing, and they were buying CDLs. Some of these truck schools, with a lot of the foreigners, they were selling CDLs. It was a money farm. And these people are out here with our families, okay? You know, it used to be to where you had to, this is America, okay? Period. That flag stands for something. And in my opinion, if you want to be a CDL driver, you better know how to read, write, fluent English, speak it, know what you're doing, because if you don't, then you have no clue about the vehicle, okay? You just don't. Now, if I go to another country, you have to learn to speak their language. But here, they have put 75 different languages on the CDL test. Okay. And then they've let all the folks go out, and I'm not singling any one culture out. I'm fine with anybody wanting to be a driver, but know what you're doing. If you know, I was at New Hampshire, Connecticut not long ago, a driver went completely off route because he didn't know how to read a simple sign and got himself jammed up. He had no clue what it meant. That's a problem.
Shippers are even getting to the point where they're even saying that they want people to rewrite, you know, be able to rewrite and speak fluent English. I mean, I have a customer this way. Hunter knows this customer, Andrew. So I have a customer.
Yeah, he's the home.
The building that well, he actually literally just moved last week, but the building he was in, there are two different shippers there, I guess you could say. He basically the other guy just only receives. But point is my guy has one dock and the other guy has two docks, and they're separated by a brick wall. Like the one guy owns the building, purposely put the brick wall there to separate. Hey, these are his, these are, you know, the other person that rents the other side of the building. And one of the guys drivers that showed up to my customer, he already got a truck in the dock. He told the guy, hey, go park over there, and pointed to the side of the building where there's like a gravel lot that you could park in. He said, go back in over there and wait, and I'll come and get you whenever I get done with this truck. My customer goes and walks back inside, and not 10 minutes later, his neighbor, the guy who owns the building, comes walking over and says, hey, can you please have this guy move out of the dock? I've asked him 3 times, and he said that you told him to sit here until he waits. And so my customer caught shit from his landlord essentially, and dude gave him a lip lashing, and all this other stuff, all because this driver like misunderstood. All he heard was back in is the only thing we can understand. Like we still couldn't get it. He didn't speak any English at all. So, but it was that simple thing, man. It didn't hurt anything, didn't mess any product up, but that one thing, and here's where it's funny. Not that we think this was the reason that it happened, but the guy decided he didn't want to renew the lease for where my customer is, and he's just going to take over the whole building. But, you know, it's like he had a lot of problems with also drayage drivers, because he gets containers and he's up there in Cleveland. He's like, man, he said, he told me once, he's like, I could probably count on one hand the drayage drivers that have come in to my facility that I can talk with without using some type of translation on my phone or having to call their dispatcher. And he's like, it's an absolute just headache. You know, he's like, because even simple instruction, if people don't understand, you know, and you say, hey, Gary, it's going to take 2 hours before I can get you. You don't understand any of that. And then you come in an hour and say, why am I not backed into a door? And then we have this whole other problem simply because you just didn't understand what that person initially had said. So it's becoming a major deal, man. Major deal.
You know, I will always do anything I can to help save this industry, so to speak. I will do anything I can to help it grow, to help people understand what we do out here is inherently dangerous. It is the lifestyle. Years ago, back when I had FaceSpace, that's what I call Facebook. I don't have it anymore. There was this really cool contest, and it said, "Tell me about who you are and what you love trucking, and send us a picture of your truck." And I filled this thing out, and I sent it in, and it's just one of those. You think it's one of these gimmicky deals, right? I got a call like 2 months later and said I had won the grand prize of this contest, and I'm like, sweet, what is it? Because they did. I don't even remember seeing what it was, and the grand prize was, we're going to fly you from California. This is where I lived at the time. I grew up out in California. We're going to fly you to North Carolina, and you're going to get photographed with the Smokey and the Bandit rig, with Snowman's rig, and meet the owner of it and all this cool shit. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, you're lying, right? Like that's not true. Then they're like, no, it's totally true. So they fly me out there. I get professionally photographed with this thing, totally bitchin' experience. And at the end of it, they said, look, you've been in the industry a long time. We have this Pro Driver Council. We'd like you to be a part of it. And I'm like, really? I can do that. So I've been a part of Road Pro, Family of Brands, DAS, company out of Pennsylvania. They're the ones that supply all the truck stops, all the travel centers with all of their stuff, whether it's from clothing to, shaving to power inverter, CBs, they supply it all. Okay. And I have the privilege once a month to have a phone call with these folks since 2018, January of 2018. So coming up on 7 years. And R&D new products, new headsets, all the Cummins gear that's come out, inverters, Cummins headsets, coolers, all this stuff. I mean, I've probably R&D'd with them at least 10 or 12 headsets in that time, and other products that are out on the road. I've written articles with them in my LinkedIn. If you've never noticed, when you scroll down through people's bios, there's 2 articles in there I've written for them. One about the importance of CBs. One about this is when LED lights started to become a big thing out on the road, and how it affects things and what you should have. So I've published articles with them and a couple of different deals for them. I've done countless calls. I've done videos for them on securement. And this is what we do. I show up at MATS. I walk around and hand out stuff with them at MATS. I was just asked today to go do a driver panel up in Pennsylvania in May. I won't be able to attend that, but they do these panels with the travel centers and with clients to find out what is needed, what changes can be made in the industry. So any way that we can change things, the better. I had my inverter recently went out, okay? And we figured out that when it was installed by Peterbilt, they used the wrong size fuse. Okay, well, because they used the wrong size fuse, I went into the truck shop to grab a larger fuse as a big blade fuse. They didn't have it. I needed a 500 amp AMG. They don't even carry anything like that. Most of the travel centers, even in the shops, only cover maybe up to 150 to 200 amps. So that became a problem. So now we've got to get with the manufacturers, whether it be Power Drive, Cummins, or whoever has this stuff in, whoever has their product in these travel centers. We need to make sure that those fuses, those blade fuses, are available for each size amp. That's never been a thing before. So the easiest way for me to get a fuse would be that way. Instead, I had to, the DAS, Road Pro sent me one out on the road to one of my customers over here. But if not, you've got to try to Amazon it, or you got to try to find one, or you got to go to a welding supply and get the right size cables. So all these things came into play that don't exist in the travel centers, and that was a problem. So now that was just something within the last month. So now that's something that's going to get fixed. And how many people have had that problem? Well, we found out 4 of our council members had the same problem, and they didn't know why. Now they do. It's changed. We've got to change the industry. We've got to get people band together. You can't get 2 drivers to agree on anything anymore. You hear about all these people going.
Hey, let me ask you. Gary, what is, in your professional opinion, what is the biggest issue that drivers are facing in this current market?
They don't know how to do business. They do not know how to conduct business at all. They'll sit there and they'll bitch and moan and complain about a broker, but they're not willing to build the relationship. They're not willing to go get their own direct freight. They're not willing to put the work in. They want it handed to them. And if it ain't handed to them, they're bitching about it. You cannot have it just handed to you. You've got to put in the work. You don't get to be Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or anybody else in this world without putting in the work.
Are you involved in any of the conversations about broker transparency?
No, and here's why. Here's why. Look, if you call me and say, Gary, I've got to move. How much will you do it for? And I tell you, I'm going to do it for $50,000. Okay. And you turn around and you tell your customer that your number is 65,000. I could give two shits if you made 15,000 off of that. Good for you. You got your customer to pay that. I just want what was agreed upon between us. If I tell you my number is 50,000 and you get 65, it's a win-win situation. I'm not going to ask you what you made. I don't give a shit. If you want to tell me what your markup is, that's fine. That's fine. I don't care. Okay. But to me, if I give you my number and that's what I get out of it, that is no different than getting the freight direct from that customer. And you've already got the relationship, and now we have a relationship together.
So you're telling me you know your bottom dollar?
Not necessarily your bottom dollar, but know your business. Now, if you tell me this is what here, let's backtrack. If you tell me this is what the load pays, if you tell me, hey, the load only pays $30,000 because I don't got that much in it, cool. Everybody's got to make money. I'm good with that. But if I find out later that load paid you $72,000, we got a problem, because that is immoral, that is unethical, and you lied. You told me you didn't have that much in it, but this is what it's paying everybody, and you just made a 58.6% markup. And that is where I'll have a problem with it.
That is honestly, I think that is where most people in that argument are coming from with that, is that exact statement that you just said right there. Because I'm the broker that you used in the first example. Like, I don't put rates out there. I go to people and I say, what do you need to make it work? Now, it doesn't always work for me, and that's okay. Because everyone has their price, and sometimes your price is not my price and vice versa. But I don't never, the only time I ever say this is all I have in it is when I'm being honest and truthful, and I am, like, I don't care to tell you what I've got in the load. Cause like I've told people forever, you want to know what I got in a load, do 13% of what I gave the load to you for. And that is my average margin. It's, it is. I make between 10 and 16%. 2023, I think my overall yearly average was like 13.8. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do I get some 50% bangers? I do, but they're on like crap cheap loads, and it's only 50% because there's no fucking money in the load to begin with. You know what I mean?
I will tell you what I told somebody not long ago who was starting to dabble a lot more in the oversized world, and he stumbled upon me on LinkedIn. Actually, great guy. We put numbers to a pretty large project, and he's like, Gary, if I add my margin to these ones that are up there in price, he goes, they're not going to go for that. And I said, we're bidding the whole job, right? Page after page after page. He's like, yep. I said, here's how you fix that. Listen up, people, because this is where it matters. On those higher dollar ones, make your margin smaller. Okay. Make your here's why. As a broker, if you add your margin that you normally do on a lower paying load, no, they're not going to go for that. If I'm telling you it
Fuck
costs me
no.
50 grand to move this, don't mark it up 20%. You're going to look like an idiot. But I'm telling you, this is what it's going to cost to move that. Make your markup 10% or 7.5%. You're still going to make a shit.
Oh, give him
Dude,
3%, dude. That's so much money.
do 7.5% or 10% on 50 grand. Okay, that's still a pretty damn good payday for one of 200 loads. Where you're going to make your money is where you can follow the market rate on the flatbed loads or the ones that are much smaller OD that don't take as much money to move them. You're going to make your money by volume. Okay,
You know,
period.
So I want to touch on that while we're on it. So here's the thing: is it I wouldn't say a majority. That may be a stretch. A lot of brokers do exactly what you're saying. Me being one of them. Like, I don't have set margins. My company doesn't have set margins. I think set margins is fucking stupid. You're honestly pricing yourself out of business if you have
Correct.
set margins. I truly believe that, because set margins only work up to a certain fucking point. And we'll use the load you're talking about. You know, if your set margin is 20%, you know, well, 20% on a $6,000 load ain't no fucking shipper going for that. You know what I mean? So, but most brokers do what you're saying, man. Like, as that number gets higher for the overall transaction, the percentage does go down, because, like you said, you know, you may be only getting 5%, but you're still making more than the 20% you did off the $2,000 load. You know what I mean? Or
Let me
whatever the
give you
case
this.
is.
Let me give you the sweet point to all of that. This was the cherry on the mountain, fellas. We didn't win that bid. Perfectly fine. But I educated him on that. So we talked about the education. I gave him the education to not have his margin so high on the higher dollar ones, and it went to another company, right? For capacity. We get a call, okay, from overseas. Why aren't you guys on these loads? Well, your folks didn't give it to us. We're cool with that. Still to this day, and they are having problem after problem after problem after problem. Me and my partner carrier have rescued a total of about 10 loads from that project, and they went flawlessly. Then he got another phone call. You guys need to be doing this shit. So
Never
here
go with
we
the
are.
lowest bidder. Never go with the lowest bidder.
But
They figured out that somebody screwed up along the way, and the carriers that they were using so that other 3PL could have much higher margins, they were selling it to the lowest bidder as a carrier, and it had nothing but problems, and it was a break bulk deal.
But my end point to that was on the broker transparency thing, is that the deal is that most carriers, they don't know that, and they don't understand that most brokers are pulling those margins down the higher those things get. They think that, like, oh, it's 13%. So on the $7,000 loads, you're getting 13%. 13 doesn't sound like a lot, but 13% on $7,000, they're like, oh, well, I should be getting some of that 13%. You shouldn't be getting that. And the reality is that most brokers on something like that are probably making a 5 or a 7 or a 9 or whatever, you know, not that there's not
Right.
ones making 13, but like, that's the deal. And I pull that to go to, you know, you talk about education and teaching people, and we talk about that a lot on the show too, but this is one of those things to where the line is in the sand, because nobody from either side wants to come over in mass and discuss and talk and open up and help the other side understand. Brokers and carriers. Brokers aren't talking to carriers, explaining this thing and showing these. I'm saying, hey, this is how it really works for 90% of the industry. Fuck the 10%. That is the minority. That is not the way most people do it. And carriers aren't going over to brokers because they just think, oh, I'm just going to be lied to, you know, so forth, so on.
Right.
They can tell me whatever. I don't know any different because I don't know that language and that jargon and their whatever. And so it comes down to that, people not knowing the other side and being educated on what's going on. I think the broker transparency thing, I think it's fucking stupid. Someone on our show, and you've kind of said it, everyone who is against it as a driver has basically said the same thing. But the one person first said it, and I'll remember who it was, but they had said that people who care about broker transparency care because they're living low to load.
Right.
That's the thing. They're just trying to find a way to squeeze $50 fucking more out of that broker the next time they deal with them, so they can get more money on the deal. And that's not the thing. You shouldn't be focused on that. Focused on why you're not making money where you're at or what rates you need to be at. So that's the freight that you chase. And then you ain't got to worry about what the hell the broker's making, because you're like Gary, you're given the price and you're being paid what you want to be paid, because you know that's what you need to pay your bills and to put some money in the bank at the end of the week. You know what I mean? To live off of.
So
Or whatever the case
let's
is.
segue and branch off to what we just talked about. Nobody's willing to learn the other side of it. Okay. There is a term that most people aren't familiar with, and it's called reflection training. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you what reflection training is. You want to know what I go through? Again, there's a passenger seat. Come learn it. Come learn it. Any broker, any agent, any shipper, any manufacturer is willing, they can come sit with me any day of the week and ride with me and learn what it costs to move this, to move this equipment from A to B, and why I choose to go here and there. But I'll tell you this, I'll also do the same thing. I'll come sit in your office. I'll take the time and I'll come learn what you do. I want to reflect on what you do. I want to know why you do what you do. What makes you tick? How many people are willing to do that? None. Not a damn person. Okay. But nobody else is willing to come sit in this passenger seat either. Okay.
Oh, I'll come be your passenger seat princess, Gary. You just let me know when.
Listen, as long as you ain't got no panties on, then we're good. Okay.
No.
But listen, it's
Pedro don't wear underwear
about
at all, man.
it's about learning each other. That's where the relationship comes in. Okay. You can't.
I
You'll
do.
learn a lot
you can't-
about Pedro in that passenger seat.
Probably fucking teach Gary some shit. I don't hear none of that crap. Fucking watch it. I have Gary be a
Let's
real
go,
job.
hey,
I'm
son.
done with his
I
ass.
love that though. I love that because we've talked about this shit before. Like all these drivers fucking bitch and complain, and all these brokers fucking bitch and complain, but nobody knows one side from the other. Pedro, how long did you drive for? 15 years?
10 and a half years.
10 and a half years.
which
Yeah,
is great.
and
You know,
you've been
you
a-
know both sides of the coin, which is phenomenal.
Fucking do.
And dude, I've had the privilege to hop in a truck from Dallas out to California, up to Northern California, and it's not fucking beautiful on either side of the fucking road, but people need to understand drivers don't just hold the steering wheels. And brokers don't just fucking drive a desk. There's two sides
Yep.
to the tale.
That's it right there. I gotta agree with JB that a bunch of company drivers pretending to be business owners. That is so fucking
but
Oh,
fuck, dude, you should.
A company
Oh,
driver
should
thinks
be a
that they
business
know
owner.
better.
You're running your business.
bro.
Your
That's right,
truck
but
is your office.
Listen, if you are a company driver, you need to just do your job and do what they ask you to do because it's their company. Now, within reason. I'm not saying do anything illegal, don't do anything unjust, be men and women of integrity, but do what they're asking you to do. If they ask you to go to Pacific Northwest in the snow, well, by God, then that's where you need to go. If they tell you that you got to go to New York City, well, by God, that's where you need to go. You're not going to learn anything if you're not willing to go where they ask you to go or do what I don't tarp. Bullshit. You're an open deck driver. You tarp.
Well, I think I think what JB said. Now, although I do agree with you, Gary, like what you said, a gajillion million fucking percent. When people ask, I worked for almost all mega carriers, pretty much. I started out with the subsidiary of FFE. I was one of the first 50 drivers for Knight Refrigerated when that started up. I worked for US Express, PFG, McLean, like all mega people and what they do. And I never, ever had a fucking problem. All the people that complained, even at Knight Refrigerator, drivers just in the lounge and US Express and every bitch. I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't have none of these problems. And you know why? It's because I did my job. Like if they said,
you do your job.
We need you to go do this stupid 20-mile run because our local driver failed. Okay, cool. Where's my 1,000-mile load after that? Well, I don't know if I have one. Well, when you have that 1,000-mile load, let me know and I will go deliver this 20-mile load. I'm gonna go hook up to the trailer though, so you can't give it to somebody else. But I would leverage myself. But what I think JB's talking about, or I'm pretty sure is a lot of these company drivers that come like when COVID hit, things went great. And they're like, oh man, I'm gonna go buy a truck. And all they think it is, oh, it's a truck payment, it's fuel, it's, you know, this handful of things. And it's like, no, dude, it's blinker bulbs, it's wipers, it's windshield washer fluid, it's scale tickets, it's DEF, it's everything. And they
It's all the
don't know-
things. Yeah.
But you said it too, though, Gary, is they don't know how to be business owners. They don't. And I'm a company driver that almost went owner op 3 times, like I said. And I mean it, dude, I did so much research, had friends that were owner ops that were successful, that were teaching me and were going to help me. And I still was like, don't know if I want to do this, man.
As a company driver, I tracked my fuel. I wrote everything down. And this is something I'll tell a company driver, even when I was a company driver. Guys, if you're not out there saving your company in fuel, if you're out there wanting to do, oh, my truck only does 63, there's a reason for that. They don't want you doing 90 down the road and blowing the fuel right out the damn tailpipe, right? Or out the stacks. If you're saving your company money, guess what? You get that cool company Christmas party. They give away stuff for Driver Appreciation Week. They give you a raise. Guys, they can't give raises if you're not helping save them money. Don't have the fuck it all attitude. You have to be part of that. And the ones that bitch about it, they'll never, ever, ever be successful because they don't know what it means to help a larger company save money and go down that road. No clue.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would have done good, man.
They're the ones that idle their truck in 65-degree weather all night long, and they don't need to.
Well, I didn't do that, but I will say I was an idler for some part. Like I had my little goes, but dude, I always got my fuel mileage bonuses, my safety bonuses, my on time. Like I really think I would have done great as an owner op, bro. I'm just, you know, it's a big deal, dude. It's like, man, you know, you're talking $150,000 worth of shit that you're responsible for that you have to pay for, and that's just right. The payment for that. You know what I mean?
That's for a cookie cutter truck and a cookie cutter trailer. That's a haul truck. That is a simple haul truck. Minimum.
No, exactly, dude. Yeah, exactly. I was going to get a KW was what I was looking at, and I was going to get me a reefer trailer. That's what, because that's what I did. I did reefer freight. That was what I messed with. So, but if I can, I want to move this back. I want to move this back to you because I've got so many questions that I won't answered, man. So question away. First, I was so about to fucking. I'm so glad you corrected it, bro. All right, Gary. First off, I want to talk about your equipment, man. Because your equipment, for one, you have an absolutely beautiful truck, man. I just want to say that, Hunter. I know you've seen his truck. Dude, it is a beautiful, beautiful rig. I love the color scheme that you have on it, and it is obvious why you have won awards for it. But let's talk about the outfitting of. Hello. Let's talk about the outfit. I'm like, what the fuck? Let's talk about the outfitting of that truck, man. So I am pretty sure that you had to get some special stuff. Like that thing has to have a bigger motor, bigger gears, bigger rear ends, you know, whatever it is. So like, can you get into that a little bit, Gary? You know, like, you know, what's the difference between what you pull just tractor wise as of right now versus someone else?
So you have your everyday haul truck, your Cascadias, your Volvos, even Peterbilt and Kenworth has their you know, assembly line haul trucks. You know, they've got highway gears, they've got automatic transmissions, and so on and so forth. In order to have a heavy haul truck, you need to be able to spec that truck for what you want to haul. There's only so much I can haul. There's only so much weight I can haul up to before this transmission and these rear ends won't go anymore, right? So, and then when I was looking for a truck, I needed to make sure that it had at least 600 horse. This has an X15 605 in it, okay? The transmission is an Eaton Fuller 18 speed 2050 on the torque. The rear ends are 373s. It's got a 280 wheelbase. It's not long. It's not short. It's got a 60-inch severe slide on it for the fifth wheel. It's got a heavy spec fifth wheel on it that will hold up to 300,000 pounds, I believe. It's got it's got dual pull handles on it. Okay, it's all severe duty. So on that 280 wheelbase at a 60-inch slide, when I like to do this, I have that fifth wheel slid forward almost pretty much all the way most of the time, and have my flip neck down on my trailer because I want weight up on my steer. Okay, I can have 20,000 up front. I can have 60,000 on my Trident back here, right? 20,000 pound lift axle, 46,000 pound tandems. Okay, 373 gears on the ratio for the rear. It can pull, like, this thing is beefed. Okay, it's got double steer box. It's double framed front to back. This thing is an absolute beast. You look at my truck compared to every other truck, it looks like my truck's got a lift kit. Okay,
It does,
this
bro.
thing
It
is
does.
this
Yes,
thing
I've
has
noticed that.
this thing has a suspension on it that is absolutely massive. Okay, it's on 24 fives. They're not 22 fives, so it sits up taller. And if it wasn't on 24 fives, it was on 22 fives. You know, it would sit like it's got a damn Carolina squat because the front end is so beefy, right? So that it has to have that. It has to have all the things, because if you don't, you're going to twist your frame. Your transmission's going to heat up and drop out the bottom, the same as your rear ends if you're trying to pull heavy weight. I've got friends that are like, hey, I want to come do what you want to do. Okay, cool. Go spend the money. You've got to buy a different truck. Well, why can't I do it with this? Because you can't. You know, you can't. Now, you can have a 3-axle truck, but you're going to need to go buy a Jeep to accommodate for the additional axles. Okay, and the Jeep goes in front of the trailer, and then you got to have a booster out back to hold that weight. Then you're getting into a whole nother realm. So, but there's a caveat to that. As you add all these things to a tractor, it inherently becomes heavier. My empty weight, as it stands right now, truck and trailer empty, full of fuel, my fat ass in the driver's seat, 63,500 pounds. Okay.
Holy shit.
I don't just haul I don't go haul the yellow iron that, you know, Keen hauls and all the other guys that haul. I can't go jump into the 5-axle realm and haul something that's 45,000 pounds, because they're going to haul it significantly cheaper than I am, because I can't scale that without getting, you know, permits. So you have to be very specialized in what you haul and what you do. So if I'm going to be that heavy, I'm going to continue to specialize in stretch freight. That's what I love to do. That's what I'm really good at. So that weight variance, that means I've only got 16,500 pounds until I'm overweight. Once you go overweight, as you guys know, or you may not know, it becomes a divisible load. You can only have one piece of equipment on the deck of the trailer, period. Okay. You cannot have more than one. Now, if I'm pulling my 50-ton stretch step deck, I'm a lot lighter. If I've got all my axles and I've got my Stinger out back, then my empty weight is 57,800. If I leave the Stinger in the 4th axle and I just do 7 axles, then I'm 52,500. Okay, again, double frame trailers, stretch capability. So you have to know what you're doing when you go spec a truck. If you spec it wrong for what you're trying to do, you're screwed. If I try to haul something super heavy, this transmission and this rear ends are going to heat up, and they're just going to blow right out, and that'll be my screw up. So if I want to go heavier and heavier and heavier, because the truck is spec'd for it, I can change the transmission. I can put, you know, a heavier transmission in. I can get more torque out of it. I can go 2250, or I can put better rear ends in there. I can go 390s. I can go 411s. I can go low, gear them lower, lower, and lower. But as you gear lower, you're only going to be doing 60, 65 down the road. You can't go blasting down the road at 75, 80. You have to treat this truck as its tool to utilize. Otherwise, you're going to screw it up, and you just wasted $350,000.
God. Hey, maybe you said this and I missed it, but like with your current setup, and let's just say the trailer you're using for what you got dealing with right now, what can, and I don't care about permits, I'm not asking that, but what is the most you can pull, Gary? Like if you permitted out, weighted, fucking height, all that, what's the most weight that you can pull with the setup you got right now?
I can gross probably about 250.
Damn, that's not. Do you do that on a regular basis? Like what's your average haul, bro?
No, my average, I'm gross at 160,000.
That's still 2 semis, bro. 2 regular semis.
It's a lot of weight. Now add into the fact that I'm usually super wide and super tall and super long.
What's your average length? Like, you know, once you get everything on there.
usually anywhere from 47 to 52 on this trailer on that stretch step deck. I mean, the average length is 63.
That's not that bad, I guess. That's not too bad. I mean, like lengthwise, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
I mean,
but again, that's stretching the trailer. That bottom deck's only 43 feet. So if the average
Yeah.
length is 60, I'm stretching it 20 more feet.
yeah.
That's not including the rest of the truck and the front deck of that trailer, which is 10 feet. So you're
Oh, that's
stretched
what I
out
was.
at over
That's what I
100
was talking.
feet.
Okay, that's
You
what I was
have-
talking about, like total feet. I was talking total.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh no. Total feet. I'm usually averaging 95 to 105.
Golly, dude, that's nuts, bro. Man,
And I'm
dude,
I'm non-steerable. So because I'm non-steerable, I really have to look at my routes and make sure that I can make turns when I'm
Hey,
route planning.
clarify that for people. Non-steerable. Clarify what you mean for people.
That means the ass end does not steer. That means it is fixed axles, just like your tractor is. Steerable would inherently make life a lot easier, but you're going to shell out a minimum starting $350,000 to $400,000 for a trailer.
Hey, man, that's good.
That's
Like
a starting point.
That's nuts. So one you have now, like, can you outfit them afterwards? You buy them, like the one
No.
you have now. Could you make it?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot outfit it. It has to be done at manufacture, because if it's done at manufacture, then it's done right. You've got all the room. It's, if you try to convert it later, you're gonna basically chop your trailer to shit trying to do it. It's just like the guys who want to double frame or put slips in their frame rails later because they want to do heavy haul. A lot of those trucks actually start splitting in half because they put too much weight on it, and they go to make a turn and the truck goes. Just spend the money. Yeah, just spend the money and do it right.
Yeah, I believe. Like, are you trying?
And that's where you get the imposters in the industry.
Do you? I'm assuming you've done that, but like, are you trying to make that your final thing? Is do the steering? Because I assume you probably would get paid a little more if you have that type of equipment or able to do those things, or is it just not worth the trouble for you?
I don't have any problem. We'll go back to what I said about an hour ago. I don't have any problem buying any trailer as long as I've got the work for it. I am not going to go buy a trailer blindly. That's stupid. That's just like somebody going out and dropping $20,000 on the crappiest truck and $10,000 on the crappiest trailer because they think they're going to go make money, and they put themselves in a bind. Anybody who goes out and buys equipment that don't have the work already lined up for it, you are dumb. You just executed yourself, because now you're trying to play catch up.
I agree with that. I think across the board, but more so, the more that you get, the more you get into the specialized. And
Correct.
Sage here said they also have steer assist. I mean, sounds self-explanatory, but is it exactly self-explanatory?
It's exactly what it is. It's steer assist. So see, you've got some trailers that maybe only one axle will steer. I've got a partner carrier that's got a stretch flatbed, and one of his axles is, I want to say the spread on it is 6 foot, or maybe it's 4 foot, and only one of those axles steers. So it assists him in some of those turns. And so when he turns his steering wheel, it's designed that back wheel usually turns the opposite direction to help him get around corners.
That's pretty cool. So how does the full ones work then? Like, is that like some type of mechanism you have to have in the cab for the ones that are fully steered, that like when you're turning your wheel, you've also got to be turning the one for the trailer, or what? How does that work?
There are ways that there are many different ways that they're set up. Some are set up to automatically steer, or you can do it off a remote. So you have a steerman with, your pilot car. Whoever your pilot car is in the back, they've got a remote, and they can steer your trailer for you from the rear. Or some of those loads that don't require, a chase car, you can either do it by remote in the truck while you're driving. You're actually, playing with the remote as you're turning, or it'll turn off your steering wheel. Goldhofer has that technology. Faymonville has that technology. It's out there.
And people say automation is new in a way. Like, I know it's not complete automation, but you know what I mean?
There is automation in some of the things we do if you're willing to spend that money, but you'll never have full automation where a truck can drive itself and heavy haul. You have to have the human touch. You have to.
you have to have the human touch period between trucking, but let's not get into that shit. All right,
Yeah,
so
that's
back
a
to your
whole
truck.
nother show.
Yeah, dude, we love that
A whole
talk.
nother show.
We are so anti EV AV on this show. It is unfucking real.
Hey, maybe next show we'll have Sage on.
Really, you have to have a CDL to be in a chase car.
No, you don't have to have a CDL.
If you use a chase car, they must have a CDL. That's what Sage says. I don't know.
Hey,
Absolutely not. No, pilot cars do not have to have CDLs.
I don't know if that's what he meant, but Sage
Yeah, I don't know. Elaborate more.
Sage
Sage.
types at 1,000,000 miles a minute. So
yeah. Sage is a broker that does all he does is OD, but he does the shit like you do, though, Gary. Like he doesn't do the little play. Like he does the shit. They shut down fucking highways and take down bridges, like that kind of stuff.
Now, pilot cars do have to have a certification, but it's not a CDL.
Yeah, no, I think he typed it in wrong. No, Sage is very, very smart when it comes to ODO dub. And then what? Beach Kata 1150. Pretty sure you don't have to have a CDL to steer. It just depends on what you're steering.
Maybe he's talking.
Yeah, definitely not a pilot car though.
No. He said to steer. I think he's talking about the person that's the controller that is controlling the rear of the wheels. And I mean, who knows? Maybe it is, dude. Maybe in certain states, hey, you never know, because even permits.
Well, I just think about like the back steer vehicles. Like, I just think about like the fire departments up in New York. You know, they have those huge freaking fire trucks that have the steer car.
So that's different. Okay, so with the fire department, you have to have a Class B commercial, but there is a Class B specifically designed for the fire department that they can only use with the fire department. Okay, so if you want to be in the fire, if you want to be the engineer on a fire truck, you do have to have a Class B with air brakes and whatever else endorsements, tanker endorsements that you have to have as well. But it's specifically for that. So they can't take that Class B and convert it later commercially if they retire. They'll have to go retest. It doesn't just segue.
All right. So back to your truck.
Back to the truck.
About getting it outfitted. No, because I don't want to forget my questions, bro. Like, I'm going to talk about truck. I don't want to forget my damn questions here, dude.
Go for it.
Gary, this has been 2 fucking years. I've been trying to sit down and talk with you. Okay. All right. We've been connected on LinkedIn for quite a while, and I have forever been trying to sit down and have a good conversation with you face to face. You're so damn busy, bro. So freaking busy. Anyway, so like you're the stuff for OD, maybe not your stuff for truck specifically, but like, do they have these on the lots at most dealers, or is this man, you got to fucking call Peterbilt or KW or whoever and say, I'm looking at an OD truck or dealership, I guess say I'm looking for an OD truck, and then it's like completely built from the ground up. I'm talking new, obviously, not buying used.
The answer is both. There are a lot of dealerships that do have heavy haul trucks already on the ground. There are dealers, there are salesmen out there that do know what they're doing when they spec a truck. Same thing with a trailer. You can order a heavy haul trailer from just about any location that specializes in that. Again, I threw out Jimmy Mancini's name at Superior Trailer here in Texas. Give him a shout. Call up Hale. These guys do specialize in heavy haul trailers, and they've got several different types of specs. It's about what you want to do. Do you want to order new? Do you want to get what they've already gotten? If you order something they've already got on the lot, it may not have the amount of D-rings you want. It may not have the light package you want. It may not have the capabilities that you want. Okay, so you have to know what you're looking for. If you're fine with the way they ordered it, great. You pick it up today. If not, you put down your down payment and you wait for it to be completed. You can do it either which way.
What's the average cost of a new one, just like generally spec? Gary, do you keep up with that at all?
I mean, you're probably looking at on just a regular RGN, say a tandem axle. I'm gonna guess you're probably looking in the 70 to 90 range.
Golly, damn, that's nuts.
You want a trailer like this one? You want a trailer like mine? You're gonna spend $200,000.
What about the truck?
$200,000 for a trailer?
Just the trailer. That is correct.
Yeah. dude, that is a fucking truck.
That's for 4 axles. If you want 3 axles, it's cheaper. If you want 2 axles, it's cheaper. But again, this is a specialized trailer.
Do you? I'm sure. Do you have a PTO? I'm sure you have a PTO, don't you, Gary?
A
Do you have
PTO? No, no, I
You
don't
know,
have a PTO.
I really would
No.
assume like you guys
No,
use PTO all
absolutely
the
not.
fucking
No,
time.
hell
Really?
no. I hate those damn. No, look, the last thing I want is a damn tank on the back of my truck that's spewing freaking hydraulic fluid. Hell no. I will
Understand
deal with
that.
a pony motor any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And when this Honda takes a shit, I'll put a Predator on it. Because Predators, listen, you want to know of a really good pony motor? I learned from the Canadian boys. You put a Predator on it and you get the damn thing from Harbor Freight. That thing will start up in any weather. I don't give a shit if it's 20 below. It'll start up.
I love that. I love that. We got that's
Oh, we're not
Harbor Freight,
sponsoring
bro.
Harbor Freight by any means.
no, we wouldn't. They
No,
don't pay
no.
It's
anyway.
crazy.
They don't pay anyway. I literally just watched a lady who bitched about Harbor Freight didn't pay her, and so she went to Snap-on.
Well, listen, we'll make it
Oh,
we'll
she
make it very
fucked up.
clear. I'm not being sponsored by anybody here either. I just go with what works, you know.
No, bro.
So it's you again specking out a trailer and a truck. You got to know what you want. But you've got to spend the money too, if you want to be specialized. And again, that's just a starting point, fellas. The cost just goes up from there. I was literally talking to somebody just the other day about potentially getting a perimeter. Okay. And a perimeter trailer is going to run me basically between 700 and 1.5.
What's that?
A
Tell me about
perimeter trailer's got several axles, whether it be on the front and on the back. They got power towers to them. They expand lengthwise. They expand widthwise. So you can put larger buildings. You can put larger vessels on it. And you can get it much lower to the ground. That means that the product sits inside on frame rails as opposed to on a platform, excuse me. So you're not sitting on top of the deck, you're sitting inside the deck. But again, trailers for that are going to go from 700,000 to 1.5 million.
Holy shit. God dang. And this is what Sage said. He elaborated, Gary. He said, even if you're not directly steering the truck cab, if you are actively controlling a steerable axle on the trailer, you are considered a tillerman and typically would need a CDL. He said he's I have had that trailer, talking about the same trailer you were just he said Nelson built is
now a tillerman is different than just a pilot car. Okay, that would be correct.
Yeah, see, I knew it was something.
And then he said Diamond builds them also.
Yeah, Diamond builds them also. I guess he's talking about trailer manufacturing.
Yes, correct. Correct. Diamond builds perimeters. I mean, hell, XL builds perimeters. Transmaster builds perimeters. Trail Team. I mean, there's a vast majority out there that builds perimeters. Some of the best in the game is definitely Diamond.
No shit. All right,
but you're looking at about 950.
Let's kind of talk about
Jesus
Christ, that is fucking nuts.
So now you guys know. Now let's okay, it's nuts, right? Clip that. Think about all the posts. Think about all the posts I make when somebody wants to move a 190,000-pound piece from Texas to Kansas for $2,800.
Sold.
Tell me what part of that is going to pay for my equipment.
The
kiss my ass.
None part. No.
Yeah, correct.
The Ken Oaks party, right?
I'm gonna be out of business. Me and everybody else is gonna be out of business so freaking quick. It's not even funny.
That's fucking crazy. So keep it kind of on the trailer thing, and you had said the RGN. So let's kind of dig a little bit into the levels of this. All right. We've already established, Gary, you're up there in the bigger boy shit. You know what I mean? You've talked about there's other people that do much bigger things than you, but you're pretty good up there. So, RGN is a majority of what people think about when it comes to oversized stuff. You know what I mean? So, like what is the big difference between someone who does RGN and someone that does or does what you do? And could someone who does RGN easily move in to what you do, Gary?
The people that do RGN, a lot of them are very much a master at their craft. Okay. They move John Deere, they move Cat, they move Case, they do all the equipment of the world. Okay, they've got the 26 to 29 foot well. They do a lot of the DoD military moves. So can you make money at that? Absolutely. If that's what you stick to, you can make a crap ton of money moving freight from A to B, and you don't have, if you look at a simple RGN to van freight, you're doing something very similar. You're going from A to B and you're picking up something very, very short miles away, and you're grabbing the next one and you're heading to the next place, right? So you're bouncing from spot to spot to spot. If you want to graduate into the bigger stuff, the buildings, the longer vessels and tanks, the bigger military moves. I've got a military move coming up. I want to say it's mid-February, of a piece. It's a huge piece that is over 40 foot long, and it's 85,000 pounds. You have to have stretch equipment to accommodate stuff like that, right? So, but you have to know how to make your turns. A 2-axle is going to turn, and it's going to float much different than a 3-axle. 3-axle is going to float and steer much different than a 4-axle, and so on and so forth. And as you add axles, those axle groups, your trailer, it isn't going to just follow you into the intersection. You have to learn. They have to learn and how to make those turns a hell of a lot wider. Gentlemen, when I'm stretched out, I'm taking sometimes 3 and 4 lanes to make a right or a left turn. So you have to have that mentality to be able to do that. You can't just make a shallow turn. You're going to end up in a ditch. You have to have common sense if you want to graduate into the big boy stuff.
All right, so stand on that. I mean,
Mhm.
do you think that the natural or the progression that you took, is the way that you do it? Start out with just that simple open deck stuff. Maybe as a flatbedder, throw a couple of 10-foot wide steel fucking plates on, and then RG in it, and then keep gradually posting up. Or do you think someone just coming in new and learning OD from the start, and that's all they know, and maybe learn from someone like you is maybe the better thing, Gary?
No, it's better to stair step your way up, because you're not going to appreciate what you do. If you go do, let's say you go do a Lowe's or Home Depot load, some of the most hated loads in the industry, okay? You've got a Lego load, you've got chain link fence, you've got ladders, you've got all this stuff. You need to learn how to strap that and chain that accordingly before you can even remotely appreciate, in my opinion, how to do the bigger stuff. Because if you don't, you're not going to respect it at all. You're going to have, I mean, if you take a corner on a flatbed and you take it too sharply, that flatbed's going to roll over. Or if you take a corner too fast, if you're on a flatbed and the posted speed around a corner says 55, you better be, if you're high up there, if you're sitting at 13, 6, 14 foot, you better be taking that corner at 10 miles an hour under. Because if you don't, that entire load's going to shift and move. If you go straight into OD and heavy haul, you're not going to respect that stuff, and then you're going to take a corner at too fast, and over you're going to go. And now you've ruined product that is a hell of a lot more expensive than something from Lowe's or Home Depot. You're not going to respect it enough.
Gary, you sound Gary sounds like a fucking old race car driver, or like because he's talking about respect the load. Like, I love it, bro. I'm not making fun of you. It's just like when you talk.
No, it's good. I'm good with that.
You remind me of like you see those old heads in movies, and the new guy comes in and starts talking to him, and they're like, respect the engine, respect the car. And Gary's like, respect the load. Like, if you don't understand it, get it, you don't respect it, you're gonna do damage. Like, I like.
Then you have no business hauling it, in my opinion. There are, oh God, I hate this word, content creators out there on the old tickety talk and the Instagram and all of this, and they're telling everybody you can make $1 million in trucking by doing heavy haul. This is what I pay the bucket trucks, and this is what I pay the pilot cars, and everybody's reaching to try to go do that. And this is what I make on the load. And there's one gentleman in particular, man, and he's got 100,000 followers or so, and he did this load should have never been on his trailer. He had a really long vessel on an RGN, and he had it blocked up. That load should have been on a stretch step deck or on an RGN that could stretch longer than what his capability was, because it wasn't very tall. And he decided to take this load through the hills of West Virginia where he was routed. And man, because he didn't know what the hell he's doing, because he went from, check this out, this man went from hot shotting to stretch freight. Okay.
Damn.
And I will send you the link later of it. You know, I won't do it publicly here, but I'll send you the link later to this fella. And man, did he get himself into a world of shit and almost bit the farm on a hill and a curve in the hills of West Virginia where he had don't go there with a non-steerable trailer. Unless that load is meant to go there, I'm not going through West Virginia if I don't have to. I'll go around it. I'll drop down to Tennessee. I'll go up through Virginia. I'll go around through the top up through Pennsylvania. I have no desire to take a stretch load through West Virginia. And people might call me a pussy for that. I'm cool with that. I know what I'm capable of and what I'm not. And I'm not going to put myself in that position. And because of his non-education, it cost him a shit ton of money to get him out of that predicament. And he had to have a wrecker go up there and pull him out of that predicament and follow him the rest of the way until he was back on a straight road.
I got a question for you there, Gary.
Yes, sir.
What's the longest process that you've had on a single load? I know you talked about that one from.
I had 4 weeks. I had that one was a 4-week load on that 24 wide on that bucket for that haul truck, and then back a little over a year ago, I had a 60-foot tank that I picked up in Southern California and took to a beer company out in it was a beer brewery, Sweetwater Brewery out in Atlanta, Georgia.
Dude.
That one took three and a half weeks.
That's my favorite beer of all time, man.
Yep, that was a 60-foot tank. It was 14 and a half in diameter, and that one took three and a half weeks. That was a good one. We had police escorts on that one. That one took a while.
So, what's the biggest obstacles you ran into? Like,
state of Louisiana.
I don't know who this is, but so I watched them pull power lines down trying to leave Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, we on that tank load that we had, that beer tank load, we had Louisiana was our biggest obstacle, and the route that they sent us on put us in a town that we should have never been there, ever, and yeah, at all. And
who routes that though? Were you going direct through a brokerage?
That one, no. See, when you get a permit, sometimes you can manipulate the route to your beneficiary, benefactor, and you can. And when I say manipulate, you're actually putting the road you want to go on, but the state still ultimately determines what you can drive on and what you can't per restrictions, right? So if there's construction going on, or if there's a bridge that's too tall, the state still tells you can't go that way because of A through Z reasons, okay? And the route we chose, it got kicked back, and the state said, no, you got to go this way. And we didn't have to have a route survey for that state. So when we went that way, there was a turn we could not really complete unless they took out a stoplight. Okay, and so they had to come take
a stoplight.
Yeah, they had to come take out a corner stoplight. It was just one of the singulars. It wasn't like an overhead. Yeah. It was just a corner singular one. So I had to come take that out. And in order for me to make that turn, because I didn't have capability, they're essentially going to have to. We're going to have a wrecker come out and pull us to make that turn. However, I talked to one of the local businesses and I said, look, can I go up on your grass? I said, it's going to tear it up. Are you cool with this? This is a lot of weight. The dude was so cool. He goes, I don't give a shit. Tear up the grass. That way you can make your turn. He goes, I'm going to be concreting that anyway. But I didn't just go drive up on his lawn of his business to make that turn. I got out and I went and asked him if it was okay. I'll get into these other little towns. I had a situation just last week on one of those big loads that I posted. I had to go through a little town. I had to make a left turn that was pretty tight. There was a local gym in this little town, and it had a brick, road. Halfway through the turn, I had to stop. I walked in the gym. I got the lady's attention. I said, hey, I need you to move your car. She's like, well, why? I said, look, just move your car. I'm trying to get a load through here. And so she goes and gets her keys. I'm like, there's only 2 people in that itty bitty little gym. I'm like, I'm sorry that I'm interrupting your day. I get it. I'm sorry. But she comes outside and she goes, oh, shit. Yeah, there you go. Cool. Move your car across the street. So, there are things that you have to do to accommodate certain turns. So and
100%.
that's the route you take on that. So that would be the craziest.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Dude, that's cool, bro. Gary, I'm going to wind it down, even though I still have I have one question I want to ask you, but it's going to take fucking time to answer, dude. So I want
Answer.
to wait.
No, question away. I got nothing but time, bro.
All right, Hunter, bye, Hunter. Gary and I are just going to stay. Hunter's got stuff to do.
I'm still here.
Bye, Hunter.
Bye.
Bye. I told you.
Ask
Gary ain't got shit. Gary ain't got shit.
Ask
to do.
away,
He ain't got
man.
nothing to fucking
No,
do. He
I'm
ain't got
good. I don't deliver till Thursday. I'm good.
Oh, dude, you know how many fucking I love how Gary's attitude. I don't deliver till Thursday. It's good. You know how many fucking drivers would be losing their shit?
You know when I got here? Hold on, let's back up. You know when you want to know when I got here? I got here on Saturday.
That's fucking.
You got there on Saturday?
Yeah, and I don't deliver
Where
till
you
Thursday. Down here in Texas, down south of Dallas.
Damn, you should have drove up to Nashville.
I'm not a big fan of Trashville, but if I do go there, I like to go to Tailgate Brewery.
Oh, that's dude.
That's even more trash.
Oh,
Tailgate Brewery freaking rocks. That is my absolute favorite place to go.
I've only been to the one in the Nashville airport. That's it. But I was there. I went to the one in the Nashville airport, and I have a sticker. Actually, I think it's outside of my.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter what beer you drink from them. It doesn't matter what you order food wise. Tailgate Brewery is one of the absolute top-notch breweries in this country, and they're actually on LinkedIn too.
They got good pizza. I'm more of a Yazoo guy myself. You know, I like Yazoo and some bearded iris.
Yep.
I like
all right, Mr. Potato, ask away. What you got for me?
All right, man. So again, I'm trying to extract all the information I can out of you with this.
Go
OD
for
stuff.
it.
I mean, this shit's really interesting, bro. And I think people in general just find this intriguing. You know what I mean? So, you were kind of great. You were actually kind of just talking about. So, you were just talking about the route planning and stuff like that. You know, so like I kind of want to dig into that stuff a little bit, man. You know, about the shit that goes into moving some of this freight, because I'm sure that a very small majority of this is stuff someone just calls you and Gary just hooks up with his trailer and hauls that damn thing down the street with no freaking problems. So, you know, like with the stuff you do with Gary, like what's the typical timeline, man, of, you know, Pedro calls you and says, Gary, hey, I got this load going from A to B. You know, I need it moved. You know, what is like the typical timeline for you on that?
There are two questions I ask somebody when they call me about a load. I want to know dimensions and weight, and I need to know when it needs to be picked up and when it needs to deliver. Okay, sorry, 3 questions. So those are the top 3. Okay, if it is so large that the planning has to go into it that it's going to take a couple 2 or 3 weeks, then that's what it's going to be. You will find people that say, hey Gary, I need you to come pick this up, and by the way, it's 16 foot wide, it's 14 foot tall, it's 50 foot long, and it's 75,000 pounds, and I need it picked up on Friday. Ain't happening. Not Monday to Friday. Absolutely not. That's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to plan because A, I've got to go out and get route surveys. B, I've got to line up bucket trucks and potential police. And C, if the route surveys we run and the state kicks them back, you get to start from scratch. Because some states will give you a route to have your route surveys go run. Other states want you to go run the route you want to take, and then they'll either approve it or disapprove it. So every single state has their parameters, and there is not one state that is the same. And the reason for that is because not every state has the same bridge height. Not every state has the same capacity to run a 300,000 pound load over that bridge. So there are certain routes, and then on top of that, you got to adhere to all the construction rules. Do they have an 11 wide restriction? Do they only have 1 lane of that bridge? Therefore, that bridge is compromised and you can only take half the amount of the weight on it. Okay. Do you have snow that you're going to be up against? Everything has a rhyme or reason when you take into consideration planning a route. That's where heavy haul takes time.
So I mean, like, what's the average for you on something like what you're just kind of describing, Gary?
The loads that I'm doing right now, it's taken me 2 to 3 days to get delivered. Okay, on let's call it 800 miles. Okay, so but the planning that went into this is usually about a week. So you order all your permits a week in advance for most loads, because if something happens in the middle of that week and the load gets, or the route gets kicked back, you still got time to reorder or reroute.
Yeah.
Especially in superload status. All right, so let's go back in the very beginning when I told you about my customer that wanted me to do the loads to Oregon, the first one he bid on. Okay, his customer on that end, again, this is a direct customer. His customer on that end said, "We absolutely want the permits in hand 30 days before." That ain't gonna happen. The most that we could get was 10 days. Okay, because the state's not going to let you order that far in advance unless you're going out and doing engineering and all this stuff. These loads weren't heavy enough for that. Okay, they weren't wide enough or tall enough for engineering. So the closest we could get was 10 days. Client expressed that to his client. We got the loads there in 4.25 days. Okay, we were doing 600 miles a day. So we beat our time by 3 days. I told him it could take 6 to 7 days. We beat our time by 3 days, but I gave him enough lead time that if something were to happen, we had that and we weren't going to be late. So that was the best lead time we can give that end client, was 10 days on permits, because not every state will let you order that far in advance. Typically it's 5 to 7 days.
Dude, I'll tell you, I only dealt with, so I dealt with OD stuff, and I don't even really call it OD shit, but I used to dispatch for this guy. It's funny talking about Hotshot. This guy ran Hotshot, and dude, he was so hard up for money. He was just a money chaser. And he was like, man, we got to get into some of this oversized stuff. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that. I don't know enough about it. Like, you're talking about permits and times and roads and, all these specifics. And he's like, oh man, they're just like 11-foot plates. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, going through Washington could be one thing, and then another thing. But my point to that was, you were talking about the permits. This is my point of that story. I fucking hate the Western United States. I don't know what it is with the Western United States and their DOT offices and why they're still stuck in the fucking 18th century. But bro, New Mexico, no online stuff at all. You got to call these people or email them and pray to God they call you back. Arizona, same way. Oregon, that place is a shit show. Oh my gosh.
You talking about for OD permits?
Yes.
I've never had the only state that has ever given, in my opinion, anybody any problems was Wyoming. And you actually had to call and get a clearance number. Yes. You had to call and get a clearance number and all of that. And then you go in there, they weigh you, they measure you, then they gave you their route. That's no more. Wyoming is now all online, but every other state you can get permits online for.
Not New Mexico.
Yes, absolutely you can.
Then please tell me, because this guy is still running OD stuff right now. The majority of stuff he does is like the 11, 12-foot, like steel plate scary. But the lady that is helping him, dude, she cannot find, even me, man. When I did it, I could not find a way to order them online. I had to call them and send them an email, and then they sent me the permits via email. Oregon, their thing was it took them like 48 to 72
Oregon,
hours.
You have to be registered with the state of Oregon to get permits.
That was it. We had to register with them, and then we had to do the permits.
And it's still that way.
Yeah, and even the second time, like, and again, he ran a lot of spot freight, so a lot of this shit was pick this load up and put it together in a matter of 24 to 48 hours. But even like Oregon, man, we set at Oregon line for like 24 to 48 hours more than once, waiting on them to process the permits and give them to them, because we got them in too late one day, and then the next day they had too much stuff going on, and so I hated running.
But there's a lot of states that
have y'all heard of Central Permits?
I've not, but there's a lot of permit companies out there that do good work. I'd tell that Hotshot guy, tell him to call WCS. They're one of the biggest in the company. They're one of the best.
He's doing flatbed stuff. Stuff now. He's graduated.
Never had problems with permits.
Again, I'm not an OD guy. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
that. Like, I specifically
There's-
said I
there's-
don't
I'm not
wanna
either.
deal
I'm
with
not
this
either.
shit
I'm
because
just-
of this
there's-
stuff, bro. I fucking
just
hated
following
there
it.
it.
are
I hated it.
there are permit company. You gotta know who you're working with, right? I mean, my gal, I've been using her for quite a while. She knows what she's doing. You know, there are, but and also let's backpedal to the length of the time to get permits. My stuff, a lot of my stuff takes 5 to 7 days, right? But a lot of the smaller stuff is self-issue. You got a load tomorrow that picks up in Houston, and it's only 10 foot wide and 12 foot tall and 50,000 pounds. I can get a self-issue permit for that. You know, and I can pick it up tomorrow. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's self-issue, right? So and so there's not a lot of planning that has to go into stuff like that. It's just the
Yeah.
bigger shit takes time, and it's got to be done right. Because if it's done wrong, somebody's going to get hurt, and it
I
may
know.
not be you, the driver. It could be the public.
He wanted to do a
Have you heard of Jinx?
Jinx.
Jinx.
Yes, I know who Jinx is. Yes,
Yeah, Sage says that they're the best.
Jinx is pretty good. I do know Jinx not very well, but I do know Jinx.
Is that just permitting? Like, is that like a 3PL for permit?
Now
Permissions?
permits pilot cars.
Okay.
All right, so keep it on this
Interesting.
thing, Court, or keep it on this thing. Is
Damn, there's brokers for fucking permits. That's crazy.
dude, it is, bro. I literally get emails from this one company. WCS is their initials. WCS.
Mhm.
I can't remember.
Correct.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Gary? Yeah.
Yes, WCS is huge.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Met him at Matt's. They wouldn't talk to us though. I tried to get them on the show, and they said they wouldn't talk to us. I don't know why. Maybe
Because they're lame as fuck.
maybe they got a cool sticker though, bro. Their stickers are pretty sick. Anyway,
There are people
Damn.
out there that won't talk to people because again they don't want to download that knowledge.
I guess.
And that may be them, that may not be them. I don't know. But there are people, whether it's drivers or brokers or agents or whatever, some people don't want to download their knowledge, and that may be why. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. Oh, so with your stuff, man, you said you have a lady. So do you use someone for outsourcing all of this stuff, like helping you figure out routes, and get permits, things like that, or do you?
Yes, I have a permit tech because I will go over the routes with her, and she plugs in everything that I'm asking for. She does all that. I don't have time to sit here and get on my laptop in the back or get on my phone and sit there and do all my permits myself. Listen, it's a write-off. I'll pay her to do it. I'm good with that. She's amazing. People that don't want to do those things, they want to do it themselves. A lot of times that's where it screws up. Or let's say they put in for a permit. Let's say they put an axle spacing wrong and the state kicks it out. When you get a permit, everything has to be right. So when you go through that scale house, all the way down to your VIN number, if your VIN number is one digit or letter off, they can shut you down.
Oh shit! Well, hey, speaking of scale houses, let's talk about scale houses with you guys. All right, how does that work with y'all, man?
That's
I mean,
a great question. Right
yeah,
there.
I mean, you obviously have permits, but I mean, I would assume they still make you guys run over because they want to say, man, is Gary really 90,000 or is he 95 fucking thousand? And I need
every single state, you must enter a scale house if they are open. You don't get to just pre-pass it. Okay, you must enter. Now it's up to that scale house if they want to run you across the scale or if they want to give you the bypass, because there is a bypass lane. And if you're too big to fit on the scale, then guess what? You need to send your pilot car up there and let them know, hey, I'm too wide. I'm going to hit your building. They have the choice at that point to either give you the bypass lane or send you around the backside of the scale. They can come out, they'll check your permit, make sure you're good. They reserve the right to put you on portable scales at that point if they want, or they can send you packing. It's what they feel like doing.
I was just about to ask, like what happens if you can't, because I've seen some of those scales, man, and like some of them there's completely flat, but some of the older ones, still have the little side rails that come up like, 1.5 feet off the freaking scale. So, and some of them, the scale house is 30 feet away, and some of them, that shit is right there.
That's right. And
scale,
right. That is absolutely correct. And as a driver, you should memorize or at least have written down those scale houses that have, if you're running low boy, that they've got, the rail lip, or if it's 5 feet from the scale or if it's 20 feet from the scale. You need to know those things because you need to be able to send your lead car up there if you have one, or call the scale. Hey, I've got a load that's such and such size. I call scales all the time. And they will ask me my permit number. I'll give them my permit number. They'll tell me, go ahead and pass right by. If I know I'm too big for that scale, I'm absolutely going to call them.
Well, all right. So staying on the scale thing, Gary, let's see. Have you built relationships with these scale houses? Like, are there ones that like they know you, you call ahead or whatever, and you're like, yo, hey Bob, it's fucking Gary coming through here. Like, if you
once upon a time, yes, I had relationships, but man, just like anything else, people grow and they move on, and you get a whole batch of new ones in there. Okay. I've got hats on my dash, and there's this one gal in North Carolina that she's seen me one time. This is about probably 4-ish years ago, and I went through that scale, and she just busted out laughing at the hat on my dash, took a picture of it, shared it with her husband, thought it was the funniest thing on since sliced bread. This is funny as shit. I went through there about a year ago. 3 years later, she was still there, and she goes, oh my God, it's you. I seen you on the camera. I was hoping it was you. I'm like, you see me on the camera? She goes, yeah, I knew you were coming. She goes, I knew you were coming a mile away. She goes, because I remembered the color of that truck, and I hoped it was you, and it was you. And she goes, and you still have that damn hat in the dash. And she took another picture, sent it to her husband, and laughed her ass off at it.
Can you show the hat on screen, or is it not family friendly?
It's not exactly family friendly, but I'll tell you, damn it. I will tell you what happened. About 3 months ago, on a job site, a guy liked it so much he offered me $60 for it. It's been sitting in my dash for 4 years.
I don't know.
I sold it to him.
Bro,
I could go have another one made. It's fine. It wasn't bad. It just said kiss me where I pee. It wasn't super terrible.
Jesus fuck. Oh, okay, Hunter, that definitely beats your hat. I literally was about to say it has to beat Hunter's hat from the McNasty Saloon in Fort Worth.
Dirty McNasty.
He literally has a hat that says Dirty McNasty on it.
So I had another hat on my dash that said "Show me that butthole," and it was in neon blue, right? And I was at a solar farm in Southern California, and one of my customers who I was really cool with loved me to death. I loved him, and I delivered a big, huge, building out there. And I got down the road, and I shit you not, I wasn't even paying attention. And he calls me, goes, ha, ha, ha. I go, ha, 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 what? He goes, I took your hat. I went, what? I'm like, you jackass. He got up in my truck, took my hat, my show me that butthole hat. He goes, I'm wearing this home to the wife tonight. I'm like, you're a jackass. Oh my God, bro. That is so I lost that hat. I mean, I had him made out of.
Did you follow up with him to make sure that his wife showed him that butthole?
Oh, dude, right. I should have told him, dude, if you're taking hats like that, you better put her in a contest. Oh my God. Look, guys, I mean, I don't have much of a filter. Yes, I can be professional, but I'm just as much alpha male as I'm just as much an alpha male as the rest. I take care of business and I have fun doing it. And if it offends you, close your eyes. I don't believe in participation trophies. Nobody cares, work harder mentality.
Dude, there are a few industries that, like, if you're in them, I don't know, you really need to have thick skin, and I think logistics is
we're one away from like being fucking industrial welders or like.
The most out of line professionals I have ever met in my life, hands down, are military. Hands fucking down. Are the most
I can't,
out of line.
I don't know, man. Ever. I've met plenty of welders and plumbers and electricians in my lifetime that make some of these military men look like Boy Scouts. I assure you. Okay, listen, if you are blue collar, I have a level of expectancy out of you, and you better curse like a sailor. You know,
I
it's
agree.
just it's you again. You have to have that thick skin in this industry, whether you're an agent or whether you're a driver or whatever. You better have it. I expect nothing less.
Yeah, fuck you too, Gary.
You bet, sir.
Dude, I'm with you. Especially if you're dealing with drivers, man. Like, I don't know. I think that's why I don't catch a lot of shit like from drivers. My team does, but like I'll see their catch shit and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna call this motherfucker right fucking now. We're about to set some stuff straight. I'll call.
All right. So what's your next? What's your next question?
It's like I don't hear your bullshit. Pedro.
What's your next question? You said you had a laundry list, and we're about to take out the laundry. Let's go, baby.
I do. Hold on. I gotta think about it now because you got me off with some other shit. You gotta stick with me, bro. Brain injury. So things come in and they go out. I'm not a controller of what fucking stays in this thing, dude.
Well, I got the mind like a goldfish. Trust me. I assure you, I forget shit very easily.
Bro, I wish it was that. I wish it was that. I wish it was. I wish that's what it was. I hate the part that I'm fucking have. God dang it! What's gonna happen?
Write them down.
I know what we can talk about, Gary. We talked about this in our text message, sir. Talked about this in our text message. Fucking Canada is at it again, man. At it again.
Oh, Canada, you are absolutely correct.
Complete. Hunter, call Gord right now. No play. He would. Gord.
I'll call right now.
Gord would jump all over this fucking topic. You know that. You know he's a Canadian hating For
those who don't know, old Canada, our wonderful neighbors to the north, have just introduced a bill to get rid of all manual transmissions because of carb reasons. They're saying that they pollute more. Horse shit. They want all automatic transmissions so they can continue the driver mill and continue to put whoever they want in the seat.
I agree.
Just my opinion.
I agree with that, and I've driven both, man, and I just want to make this clear personally. Any drivers watch, you can hate me, you can unfollow the show. Hunter, I'm sorry for these followers with this, but if you were a truck driver and you can only drive an automatic, you are not a fucking truck driver. I'm sorry. I don't.
You are a steering wheel holder.
You can debate me all day. I don't give a fuck if you've got 3 million miles under your belt, accident free. If you cannot drive a standard in a semi, you are not a real driver. That's the end of that. That said, I agree with what you're saying, man, that it is a large part towards this driver mill thing. It's wholeheartedly agree. I don't know the data. I can't state or anything. I mean, but even when it comes to cars, like that is a deal that it depends on the driver about it being more fuel efficient. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm a stick guy. I personally think that if you know how to properly drive a standard in anything, way more fuel efficient than an automatic, way more fuel efficient. And I want to say way more, but more fuel efficient. But in a truck, I personally never liked automatics in a truck, even in traffic. I don't give a shit. I'd rather come out of Dallas, Fort Worth, or Los Angeles traffic with a left leg, throbbing like nobody's business than have it easy and use an automatic. I don't get it, man. I hated them on hills. I hated them in everything. I did not see the benefit.
How do you cripple an industry? Take away its ability to grow.
Yeah.
You cripple an industry by taking away a manual transmission.
Yeah.
You don't have control over your vehicle, especially in heavy haul. You better damn well have a manual.
Why do you say that, Gary?
Because we pull some really heavy shit, and you have an automatic. You can't exactly downshift going down a hill without getting on your brakes. Even manually with an automatic, you're going to heat up your brakes. They're going to get greasy. You're going to go off on a mountain. You need to be able to gear down ahead of time and hold that gear. Automatics roll. If you put a manual in gear, it stays there. It doesn't just roll and then change gears when the rev limiter gets too high.
Are there people in your industry, man, like on your side of things that are really pro automatic, or do you run across most folks that say, no, we need to stick, man?
Now, this niche of the industry, no, everybody pretty much has manuals. Are there heavy haul spec trucks out there with automatics? Sure, there are. I want nothing to do with them. There's 18-speed, automatics out there, and some people swear by them. You know, I'll never do that. I want to have control over my vehicle.
I think the bigger issue with this is that we're, some people look at this, oh, they're doing good for the earth and all that stuff. And I just want to say, folks, it's too late. Should have fucking made changes 60 years ago. We're not going back. There's nothing that's going to change the damage you're done. Second thing is that, to me, I understand regulation in industry. Industries need rules, they need guidance and laws and stuff like that. But, and even when it comes to the tools that you use in the industry, you know what I mean? But I think in this situation, when you're telling someone, hey, you can't buy this, even though it is better outfitted for what you want, or even here's the thing, maybe that manual truck is $5,000 cheaper than the automatic truck that you're looking at that maybe could offer the same thing. I think when you start telling business owners too much of what they can do and how they should operate their business, you're moving into, I'm not going to get political on this show, but you're moving into the opposite of capitalism, which not saying Canada is that, but I think business owners should have the freedom to operate their businesses, which is why I'm against fucking unions. I think unions are trash.
Way back in the day in the auto industry, a manual was standard. If you wanted an automatic, you paid a premium for that. Now, if you want to order a manual transmission for a pickup truck, you're going to pay more.
Dude, if I know you,
it's flipped. It is 100% flipped.
It's funny. But my kid knows how to drive a standard. The one we're about to teach, he's going to know how to drive. But you've seen that everyone's seen the memes. How do you, Gen Z or not Gen Z, millennial, whatever it is, anti-theft device. It's just, you get a fucking stick, bro.
Yeah, you want to confuse kids. You want to confuse kids and not let them steal things. Write everything in cursive and get a manual.
I never thought that. I don't know. I started driving in 08. Yeah, sure. 08. We'll go with that. I started driving in 08, man. I started driving in a Freightliner Century class, and biggest shit boxes ever put in the road, bro. Those things were trash, man. But I never thought that I would see the industry move to automatics as much as they had. Like, I remember when it was first coming out, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like it's going to become a thing. Like, there's no way this is going to last. Like, drivers just aren't going to want automatics. There's too many benefits to having a stick, especially if you're a driver that runs a lot of mountains. Like, I'm sorry, I would rather have a standard over an automatic any fucking day, especially when it comes to running mountains. Like, I do not want some computer in charge of the gear that I know that I need to fucking be in, which I've had that issue in an automatic coming down mountains, and that damn thing has got me in too high of a gear. And now I'm freaking out, trying to slow down, throwing an automatic into manual, trying to push the damn gear down. But it's like, oh no, we won't let you do that because the computer says
paddle, the paddle won't let you do it. You're revved up too high.
Yeah, and it's like, bullshit. If I had a stick, this would fucking go into there.
When truck farming started happening, when they wanted to put the automatic trucks came out, when the same time they said there was a driver shortage. What's the easiest way to put a driver in a seat? Give him an automatic. He's just got to do this. Okay, that's all you got to do. He's just got to do this right here. Okay, and it was cheaper on fleets to go with automatics because they were cheaper to work on than a manual.
I believe that. With me, it was weird, Gary. So, I got out of the Army. I was a driver in the Army, and I got out and got my CDL by myself. I did not go to school. I studied the fucking book. I rented a semi truck from a company and taught myself how to maneuver a semi truck around. I took everything, did it all on my own. But the funny thing to me is my first experience with big trucks of any sense was in the military, and everything in the Army, in the military, is automatic, like, period.
Right.
And now those situations make sense because obviously the last thing you want to do in a combat situation is fucking worried about flipping between high and low gear, when you're behind the wheel of a 915, which is a day cab Freightliner. But, me, it was weird going to that because I had to train and learn how to drive a stick. And then even more so, even though I knew how to drive a stick in the car, it was not the same in the truck. I still, to this day, I drove 10 and a half years. I could not double clutch to save my life. I could not get my CDL right now because from what I hear, if you want the stick, the not automatic thing or whatever, you have to be able to double clutch. Like, oh, it's so fucking
The double, it is dumb, but the fail safe behind that is if you use the clutch to get out of gear and you use the clutch to get back into gear, you're not going to miss that gear. But where a lot of people fail the test is that they shift in the middle of a turn. You're not supposed to shift in the middle of a turn. So if you're at a stoplight and you're turning left, you stay in one gear to make that turn until you complete that turn. But people will shift all day long. They don't want you stalling in the middle of an intersection. That's why you're supposed to stay in gear. So the double clutch is to prevent you from stalling.
Bro, I guess. I don't know. Oh no. Funny enough thing is, I have probably shifted in an intersection at a turn. I don't know how many fucking times, Gary.
Well, I mean, like, right. I mean, we all do it. I mean, I do it. If I stayed in low all the way through an intersection, I'm going to go through. Yeah, I'm going to go through 2 red lights. You know, but you know, it's what you learn. I never went to truck school, fellas. I grew up in this. I literally went down to DMV, took my written, used a truck, and it was done. You know, but again, I grew up in it. I had the knowledge. You know.
A lot of people don't though, bro. They don't get it.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
It.
And they think that 7 days at Swift, they're a truck driver.
Well, my driver training was, I mean, I learned pretty much the basics of everything in the Army. That was 9 fucking weeks. That's what Motor 88 Mike School is, 9 weeks. And then when I got out, the only thing that I had to learn, because when I did my driving test, even at Celadon, they were like, dude, like you can handle the truck 1,000%. You just can't drive a stick to save your fucking life.
Right.
And that was the only thing I needed to learn, dude. I went through training for 3 total weeks, but after my first week, my trainer was like, dude, like you're so good. Like you have this down. Like, I don't know. It just all made sense to me, dude. I don't know what it was. I've never driven a truck, never pulled trailers in my life besides maybe a 20-foot landscape trailer, but it all just fucking made sense to me, dude. It just all made sense. How to make turns, how to stop, how to back, like whatever way you want the trailer to go, turn your wheel the fucking opposite way. It's really not that difficult. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people so overcomplicate things, but I mean, mine was easy, but I mean, I'm not talking myself out. I just think I was just maybe I won't say rare, but just one of those people that I watched, I paid attention, everything my trainer said, I took it, I practiced it, I implemented it. And I also had a really good trainer. He came from a family that his mom and dad both had 40 years. So, you know, but I don't think that they teach people right. I never went through civilian school. I know people that have, and I'm like, wow, seriously? They didn't teach you this. They didn't fucking teach you that. They didn't do this. And, you know, none of this stuff. It is all literally, this is funny. I don't know how every other state is. Here in Texas, we have this thing. My wife may correct me. I think it's called the STARS test. It is what they give every kid at the end of the year. You take this, and this is what says you're smart enough to go to the next grade. So now a majority of the schools in Texas, all they fucking do is teach the test, right? Teach the test. That's it. Teach the test, right? Because we only want you to pass it. Because if you pass this, makes our school look good, we get more money. And I think that is the way that the driver schools have gotten, Gary. Teach the test. Teach the test. That's all they do. All we need you to do is pass and get your CDL so our school looks good and we continue to maybe get funding or whatever it is. Let's not do the things like Gary did with the kids. Go take them to a parking lot and actually teach them how to park the car, how to back out of a parking spot. Like me, if I was a driver trainer at a school, I would be teaching people like, how do you fucking deal with locked up tandems? What do you do if your brakes are frozen in the middle of the winter? Like what happens if you high hook a trailer? You know,
there is a reason these mega carriers have these truck farms to spit drivers out. Okay. And it started way back in the mid 90s. Okay. Mid to late 90s is when these truck schools with mega fleets started happening. Come here, come there. And it's because they're getting grants and kickbacks from people to get as many people they can in those seats. And then you have to sign a contract. Oh, well, if you leave here in a year, you got to pay us back all that money. I'm sorry, what money? You got paid to have me come here.
I agree.
There was no money there. I didn't cost you shit. So why is anybody signing a contract? that mega carrier got paid by a certain person to bring that person. That's why they take them all. Take them all. I mean, hell, most mega carriers have a new week, new classes starting every Tuesday.
You're right. Dude.
You know,
That is exactly. That's exactly.
call
what it is.
Call a recruiter at a mega company. Okay, cool. You're gonna hire me. Great. You'll pass everything in 3 days. Oh, when do you want me to start? You know what? Hey, we're gonna put you on a Greyhound. You're gonna be here on Friday. You're gonna start class on Sunday. Oh, okay, cool. It's literally how it happens.
You're so right, and it's the same way. Period. Even with their regular orientation, but you know, it's obviously 1,000 times worse when you're talking about the new driver training. You know, bringing these people in here and just putting them through this stuff and then throwing them out there. And then even after you put them through your little weak bullshit school, you throw them into it with a trainer that, like I said earlier, really doesn't care, man. When I was, sorry, bro, my GERD's acting up. So
the trainers don't care, bro. I'm gonna fix that real easy for you. They don't care. They want. Right, but I'm saying the vast majority of trainers don't care. I'm going to tell you what they care about. The extra money they're getting, because now they're going to run that truck as a team.
Bro,
instead of sitting in that passenger seat day in and day out, you know, this is what's going to happen. They're going to go jump in the bunk. They're going to say, "Hey, drive this truck." They're going to go get 7-8 hours of sleep. When they're done, he's going to send the trainee to the bunk and he's going to drive for 7-8 hours. They want the money. The majority. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the majority. That's what they want. That's all they care about.
That's how fucking dumb they are, because you make the money by having them stay on your fucking truck. I wanted you on my truck, so I trained.
You bet.
Night Refrigerated didn't technically have a training thing like Night Transportation did, but Night Refrigerated, they needed drivers so bad to like get the division started. They were hiring van drivers and stuff like that. So some of us experienced reefer guys were having to take folks on the road with us to teach them how to run reefer operation, you know, because it ain't just turn the thing on, set it to the temperature, like just like what you do, dude. You have to keep track of that stuff. You have to watch that temperature, have to watch that fuel level. Like there are things you need to pay attention to. So like I did it there, no problem. US Express, I was a trainer there right before they changed their rule. Actually, it wasn't because of me, it was because of someone else. But at US Express, I kicked one trainee off my truck at the fucking Pilot in Sun, Louisiana. I'll look it up and figure it out. It wasn't Robert, Louisiana, but kicked this guy off my fucking truck at a Pilot. Called USA, said, "Hey, this guy's sitting in the driver's lounge. You better get his ass bus ticket. He's not getting back in my truck." Another guy, I almost left his ass in fucking Florida. Because I was a serious trainer, man. Like I took that stuff serious. Like, dude, I wanted these guys to know every single thing. US Express actually almost pulled me from trainer duty because they wanted me to push to run team. That was their thing, is you ran a few weeks with them and then eventually you became what they called a super solo, which is, you know, basically a team, but I still had to kind of sit over there or whatever. And stuff. And then you escalated to a team and then they moved you off the truck. The team thing was the level of them being able to operate the truck by themselves. They can pick up loads, they can drive, they can route themselves, all of that stuff. It was the final test. And they had a timeline with all this stuff. And you had to meet these timelines to, as a trainer and as a trainee. And I didn't buy into that shit. I was like, no, bro, like, no, absolutely not. Not everybody can fit this mold. You're setting people up for failure here. Not everyone can reach this in a week or 2 weeks. Some people struggle, and they kept like two people they pushed me to run team with. And I said, no, man, I'm not doing it. One of them was a guy almost left in Florida. This motherfucker drove. We were going to Miami, and I told him, I said, hey, man, I said, you need to take I-10. And we were running super solo at this time. I was always in the front seat, but you know, it's like, dude, after a while you may doze off and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, hey, this is where we're going. You need to take I-75 and you need to go this way, da-da-da. This motherfucker ends up going all the way to I-95, dude. And I asked him, I said, hey man, I said, hey dude, what mile marker are we at? And he goes, we're at the 50 something. I was like, dude, there's not 500 miles on I-10 in fucking Florida. And we're in the middle of goddamn Atlantic Ocean at this point. But the dude took us hours out of route, man. And US Express, like, oh, you need to move. It's like, no, dude, this guy he doesn't even read highway signs, bro. This guy literally drove 100 something miles out of fucking route to go to a complete different highway. Like, absolutely not.
Oh.
And so I was serious, man. I know a lot of them aren't, but I was a real serious guy. I didn't want to put anyone
Good.
crappy out there, dude, that didn't know what they were doing. And so, but most of them don't, man. But point is I
Well,
like to
let me
keep y'all
ask
my
you-
truck. I made more money.
Let me ask you this. I don't know how many, I can't see like how many viewers or whatever that you guys have, but do any of your viewers have any questions in regards to heavy haul or overdimensional, or any questions for me in general?
I don't know. I don't know what we're at right now. I only see the numbers we have up here they only catch a little bit. Let's see here. We're around 100 live people. I don't know. It
Nice.
seems like everyone is watching, already knows what's going on. Like Beach here. Beach obviously seems to know what's going on. Sage
Oh, Beachy.
knows.
Beachy's a buddy of mine.
Oh, really? We got to get them on
Yep.
the show. We got to get them on the show. Yeah, they know what's going on. Sage knows what's going on. Everyone that's commenting already knows what's freaking happening, dude. I
Good.
love
That's good. And that means, I don't know how many people you typically have in here, but I figure 100 is a pretty good amount.
It's about what we average. It's about what we average.
Good.
Yeah.
Good
And
deal.
on a random ass Tuesday at the
On
end
a
of
random
the year,
ass Tuesday.
in December,
on a
dude,
on a Taco Tuesday.
it's so
Yeah,
funny.
good.
My wife
Why, this is-
literally made tacos.
This is
tonight.
nacho, man. This is nacho. We don't eat tacos on Tuesday. We eat nachos.
Yeah, well, Nacho says Yo quiero Taco Bell, but you
Hey.
youngsters probably don't know
I
about
was
that.
about to say,
luchador.
he probably
He's a
is so not
luchador.
old enough for that shit. Gary. Hunter, do you remember do you know the Yo Quiero Taco Bell?
Yo quiero Taco Bell. Yeah, man. I used to have a fucking little coin purse. Like a little fucking
Nice.
Yeah, some from my book bag.
Dude,
But yeah, I remember
some of
the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Those
He's
are some
not
of
a
the
Chihuahua though.
greatest
a
commercials
terrier.
ever.
So how about it there, Captain Potato? What else you got for heavy haul questions?
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna keep thinking, dude. I had a whole bunch, and we just keep talking, and I just keep forgetting shit. You're on mute, Hunter.
Have I been on mute this whole time?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, well, Nacho's he's not a Chihuahua. He's a luchador. He's a retired luchador from Mexico, and he's a good dog. He don't like tacos, but I don't really have any more questions, but we need to do round 2 for sure.
All right, listen. Next time, write down your questions so we can do round 2.
No, we don't write down questions.
I did. I asked all the questions I had written down, man. That's the thing.
Good
I don't
deal.
write down questions.
I had all the written down that I asked, man. And
Yeah,
and we still talked about the two things that Gary and I want to talk about. However, on round 2, I do want to talk more about the Road Pro thing. Like, we touched on it, but we kind of touched more like their products and stuff like that. Like, I really want to dig deep into the stuff that they do beyond just like their products and the changes stuff that they're trying to make in the industry. That I really would like to dig in on the next one, Gary.
It's really just, it's very simple, guys. They want to make life easier for the road, for the drivers on the road, whether it be man or woman. Okay, they have a simple motto. They want to make life easier for the driver. So when you look at Road Pro's products, their actual products, everything they have is geared for the driver. It's all 12-volt plug-in to your cigarette lighter. Okay, so they've got skillets, they've got warmers, they've got coolers, and it all plugs in because not everybody has an inverter. And then they have their own inverters, and then they supply other inverters. So if it makes your life better on the road and more comfortable, they're about the driver. They're not about the big corp. Now, do they have big corporations that they work with? Absolutely. But everything they have is geared to the driver. The products that they use, the smaller products as opposed to the bigger products. They have a product that they source to the travel centers from a company called Duke Cannon. They've got shavers and hand moisturizers and and barber stuff and whatnot for the men and ladies as well. And and then they've got several different types of gloves that you can use out in the industry, whether it be the cheaper plastic ones all the way up to full thick padded leather ones. They just want your life to be easier on the road, and every product that comes out, we'll talk about it prior to its arrival, or if it's been out for a while, like they partner with Blue Parrot. Blue Parrot will call us up and say, "Hey, how can we make our product better? What can we do? Has the headband too tight? Does it need to be loosened? Does it need to expand more? Do we need to have the little foam deal on the microphone? Does it need to have more microphones so that there's more wind to cut down? Does this need to be stiff? Does it need to be mobile? What do we need to do?" And we will have those conversations. So when you see a product go away and it comes back in a travel center, 9 times out of 10, we had a hand as a council to help fix that product.
Dude, that's all right. Okay, you got to hook us up with them. All right, we've got to have them on the show, talk about this shit. That would be a really great show. That would be a phenomenal fucking show.
I actually tagged them when I reshared the Logistics Lounge on LinkedIn. I actually tagged them in the bottom, so they do have a LinkedIn, they do have a Facebook, they do have all that stuff. I will reach out to them. I'm sure one or two of them might have been watching tonight because they know I was going to be on here, but I will reach out to them and see if that is something they'd like to do. I don't see a problem with it. I'm sure that they would. They love the exposure as much as I do. To me, this is great exposure, and we get to educate folks. But they've been on other podcasts. I mean, when we were at Matt's, I know that they had, I want to say 2 podcasts that they did at Matt's, right there. So they work real close with Real Women in Trucking. They work close with several different folks in the industry to help drivers' lives inherently better. So yeah, I'll reach out to them and I'll put them in touch with you guys, and
Dude,
you guys can get that set up.
That would be so cool, bro. That'd be good to have them on here, man. We haven't had something like that on here.
Yeah, I mean, and then if we see a product as drivers, as council members, if we see a product out on the road that's not in a travel center, we're going to bring it to their attention. Hey, go check this out. This is something that needs to be in the travel centers that can really help a driver's life out. Because guys, let's face it, you can't just go order something on Amazon and get it delivered that's big. Now, they do have Amazon boxes at some truck stops, but that's far and few between. We just can't get those resources. And we got a truck and trailer. You can't always drop your wagon and go to the parts house to get what you need. You can't drop your wagon and go to Walmart if you need. I mean, some people can, some can't. So you need to be able to have those things at your fingertips. That's what they do. And we get new products introduced to them all the time.
Friggin' A. Sorry, Hunter had to go. He has to
it's all good.
He has plans stuff. We're winding down anyway. Good. Yeah, you definitely got to reach out to them. Hook us up, dude. Put us in a DM. Yep. I don't know, some shit. I would love to have them.
I will reach out. I'll reach out to the girls tomorrow, and I'll give them, what I'll do is I'll just give them your phone number, and have them reach out to you and tell them, hey, you'd love to have them on a show. If they're not watching, if they are watching, then then we'll reach out and we'll get her done.
Yeah, dude, that would be absolutely fantastic. Really, it would. All right, Gary. So, hey, we're gonna do a round 2. I know it took us forever to get this round 1, but we're not gonna let it take that long to get to round 2, because now you've been here. Now you see how we do business, man, and we just chill, bro. We just out hanging. And next time we got to set it up when you're at the house, so you can actually have a drink with me, bro.
Dude, listen, if I do it at the house, then your boy is gonna have to drive to my house, because he's only 3.5, 4 hours away. We're going to sit in my lower level bourbon basement.
Okay.
And we're going to hang out, and we're going to drink all my bourbon down there and have an absolute blast.
You are not going to, what you just said is all it's going to take to talk Hunter into that. I'm serious. It's not going to take nothing to talk him into that.
And the best part is that my entire basement is one massive man cave. It's got a huge spare room and a shower down there, so he ain't got to go far. He's got to go from one room to the next to go to bed, and that's it.
Dude, that should be awesome. I so wish I would have known that you were going to be in Midlothian. I would have had your ass down here, bro. So we could have just bullshitted and stuff, man. Like, literally a bed on the other side of my deal here, dude.
Well, listen, and if you ever want to do a live show from my place and it's summertime and I'm home, we'll go out and we'll hang out on the boat, and then we'll come back and do a live show in the basement. I don't give a shit,
dude. I'm all for it, Gary. I'm all for it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make some shit happen, dude. This is all I needed. Like, you and I do, we DM all the time on LinkedIn and we text fairly often and shit. But like, this is what I needed, was us to get on the show and us talk face to face and hang out and chill start to really build that in-person rapport, and then we're gonna
You
build this
bet.
thing, man. Because you got a lot more information I want to get out, man. I asked all the questions I have written down, but you touched on so many other things.
I need
that
to I need to
wanna bring
get
back.
you I need to get you
Yes,
guys a hat. You know, this logo I want
I love that,
everywhere,
bro.
baby.
I love
This
that, dude.
logo I want everywhere. You know, like I said, get you a hat, I'll get you a sticker. Once I get this logo copyrighted, I'm gonna go on a branding spree.
Yeah.
Because even if it don't bring me work, I want that name out there. Period.
Yeah.
And to me, it's one of the best names in the industry.
Dude, I love everything, dude. And when you're ready for that copyright thing, holler at us, bro. We're in the process of doing the same thing right now for our brand, copyright and trademark and stuff like that. We talked to, I think, 10 different lawyers before we settled on the one that we're on. So whenever you're ready, come holler at me, dude. She's pretty cool lady. Her name is Tracy, man. Knows what she's doing, and is just a completely hands-off situation, bro. So
just do this. Email me her
okay.
info.
Yeah.
And I will trust that. Listen, I'm a trusting guy. If you say she's good, then I will holler at her and we will go down that road because it is something that I want to do. I need to get it done. And away we go.
Yeah, I will. I do. I will actually send her and the other two people that were our top 3. One of them, she is extremely expensive, but she does it on a level like.
Here's the deal. I don't care about
Yeah.
expense, bro. I want it. Listen, I want things done right.
Yeah.
If I expect certain things when it comes to my heavy haul, but I also expect certain things when I outsource stuff. So if I'm doing it at a high level and I'm raising top dollar for that, then I don't mind paying top dollar for it to be done right on the other end.
Yeah. Yeah. She was just out of our purview, man, as far as like what she offered versus what we need. Like she deals with like multi-million, billion, $100 million companies and people. And like, she's in Washington fucking DC. Like she was literally saying, it's like, we hand deliver every single one of these things. I'm like, fuck that. Like, so she's serious business, serious.
But it gets it done. Yeah, but it gets it done. But here's the deal. I'll holler at all of them and I'll see who's going to be the best fit and we'll go down that road. But I appreciate it.
I'll send, yeah, 100%, dude. I will. I'll send all that to you. Before we go, any exiting comments, questions, concerns, or plugs for yourself there, Mr. Johnson?
Don't act like you know what you're doing. Go educate yourself before you go down the road of heavy haul. Don't just jump into it. Please, for the love of Jesus, go educate yourself. Because I don't want to see somebody kill themselves or kill soccer mom in the minivan with 6 kids in it because you were careless enough because all you seen was dollar signs. Stop hitting bridges, read your route, get the necessary tools, and do it right.
And you know, I think that could be said really just overall in general of our
industry. That is absolutely
too,
correct.
Yeah, bro.
It is
definitely yours, but just overall in general, man. Don't act like you know what you're doing, and always be open to learn. I think is a good thing to add there, Gary. Always be open to learn, man. I'm sure even with the 2 decades that you got, man, I'm sure still you probably learn some shit every now and then, man.
Like you said in the beginning, if you think you know it all, same thing my grandfather told me, hang up your keys. There's nothing left to learn. But also this, there are no stupid questions that are asked. The only stupid questions that are asked are the ones that aren't asked. Do not be afraid to ask. I don't care how moronic it sounds. Just ask it. If you don't know, then it ain't moronic.
I agree, dude. It
may be common sense to one person, but it ain't to you. You can't get educated unless you ask.
You know, and you know, to that, man, a big part of it, I think, is not always just smarts. It can also be comprehension. The way Gary explains it may not be the way that Pedro needs it explained. Maybe I 100% get what the fuck you're saying. You just explained it in a way that didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I
some
think
some people need it broken down more, and I get that.
Yeah, 100%, man. I loved you said that, dude. You know, my drill sergeant said what you said is the only stupid question is the question not asked. That was his thing. And he was big on that. It's like, I'd rather you ask me something 50 fucking times and me be irritated that you're asking it 50 times instead of you asking me 49 times and then you fucking hurt yourself for someone else because you didn't
Bingo.
ask that
Or
one
you end
final
up dead.
time. That's especially in that sense. You're damn right.
Yeah, don't get dead.
That's right. All right, Gary, if you want, hey, you can hang with me, man, for a minute after I do this. I'm going to go backstage and chill for a second. You want to chop it up? That's cool. Hang with me through this final sponsor break so I can at least say my goodbyes. Thank
bet.
everyone for hanging out with us.
Thanks,
Really,
thanks for having me, man. I appreciate
dude.
it. It's been a real honor.
No, brother. Honor was all mine. Honor was all mine. Believe that. I tell you, you know, bro. I've been chasing you forever, Gary. And I told you I held this spot just for you, dude. I was like,
A
I'm not
3.5 hour show.
Yeah,
At
no,
that.
I know. It's what I'm saying, dude. I knew we had so much to talk about. So much to talk about. And we appreciate all of y'all out there hanging out and watching with us for 3.5 hours on a
Yes,
random
thank you.
Tuesday during the holiday season when most people are taking vacation and just trying to spend time with their family. Thank you very much. I know you all learned something. If you want to learn more, you can find Gary. He is really big on LinkedIn. He does a little bit on X and he's big on Instagram. So please go reach out to him. He said he loves sharing his knowledge. Gary is an open book. And he posts some really amazing content, some of the greatest, best content I personally have seen as a driver. So make sure y'all go hit them up. If you have any questions that you can't give with Gary, give with me. I would love to pass them on to Gary, and we will have him back for round 2.
Did you post my socials on there for people to grab links or?
No, I tag you. Every
perfect.
place we post, we tag the person if they're on that thing. But what I will
Perfect.
do is, since you said something, I'll go back and I'll copy and paste all your socials into each thing so they're on every one of them so people can
my
find you.
my LinkedIn being a professional platform, it's a 100% open public. My Instagram is private, but that doesn't mean people can't send me requests. Please do. I just do that because there's a lot of bots on Instagram and I don't want to deal with that. But please don't let that stop you. Reach out through the links, reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I got no problem, accepting it.
I like that, Gary. You're such an open book, dude. I think that shit's so cool. You know what else is an open book is parking with Freight Ninja. It's pretty easy. It's pretty upfront. There's no hidden fees. There's really no thought to it much except for picking up the phone or going online and booking your spot with them. And if you use the wonderful code that is about to be scrolling bottom of your screen, now you can also get yourself some special rates. See, that was one of the things I didn't have written down, but I fucking forgot to ask you, which was about like parking and stuff. Don't say a word, Gary. I don't want you to give any of it away. That's one of the things I forgot about was like the parking situation, guys. So see, we got more stuff we're gonna cover, man. We're gonna cover that next time. All right.
I'm good
Hey,
with
everyone.
that.
We appreciate it again. Thank you very much. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow. We are having Trooper Ben from the Kansas Highway Patrol. He's going to come on the show. We're going to talk about highway safety a little bit and some of the things that he sees out there on the roads as part of the Highway Patrol or the DOT or the man or Johnny Law, the Hot Fuzz 5-0, whatever you want to call him. So make sure you tune in for that tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central. And Friday, we have our fine.
Add this to round 2. Permit changes mid-route, and that happens.
Okay. See, I'm telling you, we got so much more to get caught on.
That's right.
So much more. Yes, Trooper Ben tomorrow, Friday, final show of the year. We are having our sponsor, Freight Ninja. We're going to come on. We're going to hang out. We're going to chop it up. Just have a good time. Do a little Christmas special. And then we're going to end it on that. We will see everyone in January after that. So everyone, have yourself a wonderful night. Mr. Hound is not here, but I'm still going to say the same thing I say every time. And that is chunk those deuces and Mr. Potato roll that beautiful bean footage.
The views and opinions expressed on this show by its guests are not necessarily those of Lounge Media Group or the show host. So if you sue someone, make sure it's the party responsible for hurting your feelings. Also, grow up, be an adult, and understand not everyone thinks like you. And that's okay.